welcome to Eden Fractal meeting number 41. I'm here and really excited for an amazing meeting. We have some great topics on the agenda. Thank you everybody here for joining. And then also thank you everybody for watching.
Hi, Perry.
And hello, Perry. Hello, everybody. We were having some great discussions about all sorts of stuff that's going on in the global economy right now, and then also going on with Pomelo and lots of stuff. It's already 16 UTC, so we're going to go into the breakout rooms within the next few minutes, but I also have a quick presentation that I'm going to share to give everybody an update on what's happened in the past week's meeting with Firmament Albedo and missions, and then also some new shows that are coming out and the topics on the agenda for Agendas today, 2 topics, and then also a bit about Pomelo and Pomelo collections. Before I jump into the presentation, does anybody want to say hello or anything like that?
I'm wondering, for the breakout rooms, would I have to disconnect my tablet, or can you just make sure that the tablet doesn't go into the breakout room?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. If you're able to disconnect, I mean, it does look very cool. We were talking about that before.
I can disconnect.
Okay.
I'm testing, so part of the testing would be to disconnect before the breakout rooms.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds like a good test, and that would certainly make it easier and make sure, because I'm not sure. I haven't tested that feature out yet before. So yeah, but I also do want to, I suppose, share the memory. We had some fun jokes about the physics of your situation right now and you being in space. So thanks, Noam, for the inspiration and the good times. Cool. So welcome to DAS. We are a minute past 16 UTC, so I'll jump into a presentation. I'll share it for a couple minutes, and then we'll go into the breakout rooms momentarily. And yeah, so Eden Fractal number 40 or number 41. Of course, you can check out edenfractal.com/videos to see the most recent videos and all the events and show notes and stuff like that. I've been messing around with the pictures, so they're not the right size right now, but I will fix that in the future. Also, the show notes for this week for Eden Fractal number 40, I haven't quite completed them yet, so you can watch the video. Lenny shared it in the recap yesterday, and you can watch it at edenfractal.com/40. And then I'm going to share the update, or I'm going to share the show notes after they're more ready, more widely. But I spent a while trying to fix the presentation that Tadash shared because there was that technical error. But you can check out here. We have some highlights about Firmament, Aquadac, Pomelo grants, Jorge's speech, and then also a funny hat party as well. So soon you'll be able to see the presentation and all sorts of cool stuff that Tadash shared about Firmament. I'm super grateful. I'm thrilled about what Tadash is doing about that. And also Aquadac, which we'll hear more from Douglas about today. He proposed a topic and he also introduced that over the week. With Aquarius Academy, we'll also have some discussion about Pomelo grants. It's Pomelo season coming up, or actually right now, we're kind of going into the peak of it. And so I have a topic proposal about Pomelo actually, and there were several posts. Jorge made a great speech last week that I'll curate a little bit. And also we ended last week with a pretty fun hat party and singing and dancing and stuff like that. So I figured I'd feature that too. There's also timestamps, of course, below, as well as topics. Then these will be added more soon. So that's a recap for last week. And of course, you can watch the full video that I post on the Eden Creators YouTube channel. In addition, we also have some great shows coming up. Patrick has been promoting the new Antelope Workshop, where we have interviews with several community members from, I think, pretty much everybody here has participated in Eden Fractal meetings a lot. So big shout out to Patrick, and thanks for all the great work. Looking forward to that coming out next week. Also, Rosemary released the first episode of Community Stories. I'm honored to be the first guest. Thank you so much, Rosemary, for sharing this. And she shared a link to it in the Telegram chat, as well as a welcome message. And that's also now live, so you can watch the great interview as well as some timestamps as well. Of course, Patrick also makes timestamps too. So big shout out, Rosemary, and thank you. And then also, there's other shows too that I have that are coming up that are really exciting, but I figured those were a few ones that were shared in the Eden Fractal Telegram group. Encourage everybody to share more on the Agendas game today, the topics for discussion. We have 2 topics. One is TP41 Aquarius Academy, or Aquadac by Aquarius Academy. So Douglas held the first, or one of the first events yesterday, and he's going to be sharing some details. People can vote on here to signal what they'd like to learn about Aquadac. So that'll be the first topic. huge thanks to Douglas. He's also pioneering using Eden Fractal consensus tools in a new way with Aquadac. And then I made a topic discussion for an Eden Fractal Pomelo pitch session, where each community member can have up to 2 minutes to share a Pomelo pitch about the grant with the community. I think this can be really helpful. So if we have time for both of these, that would be great to hear Pomelo grants for people, or even if you want to just share a different project that you're working on, but you don't have a Pomelo grant, then that would be cool too. But I think that would be a great way to hear from all the people doing great work. Also, I'll just feature briefly in preparation for Douglas's speech or presentation later. He shared some great messages in the Eden Fractal Telegram group as well, and you can learn more at the links he provided, as well as join the feature meetings and Aquarius.academy, where you can learn more about all this. And then the Pomelo season, as I mentioned, I think today's the last day for submissions, and there's 7 days left for donations. So you can check out pomelo.io to learn more about that. And I just started an Eden Fractal collection. Jorge wrote a message saying that Eden Fractal members were rather, he was surprised that Eden Fractal members weren't more appreciated. So I agree, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to rally together. So I started to put together some different grants from people who have participated in a lot of Eden Fractal meetings as well. So you can check these out at, well, I'll share the link in the chat, but encourage everybody to help promote each other in Pomelo and help everybody get funding. That's really
Is
helpful.
Pomelo quadratic voting, or is it just normal?
Yes, it works with quadratic voting, or we talked about this for quadratic voting, quadratic formula, that basically the more donations, or the more individual people who donate to a grant, the higher the matching pool is. So people can donate just 1 EOS, and if a bunch of people donate 1 EOS, then they can get a big multiplier with way more EOS from the matching pool.
So if every one of us donates $1 or 1 EOS, that's worth a lot more. You know, if 10 of us donate 1 EOS, that's worth a lot more than one of us donating 10.
Yep, that is correct.
It's about 10 times more.
I don't know the exact number, but
if it's quadratic, then 10 is worth 10, and 10 times $1 is worth square that. So
it's centralized, and they have apparently, it appears to me that they're using quadratic formula, but it's not the same as in Ethereum. It doesn't appear to be purely on that formula.
Oh, okay.
Last time, the first time I did it, I think I received like something in the neighborhood of 5 times the original donations, and the last time it was down to like maybe double, like 2x. So I'm not sure if that's the pure quadratic formula. That probably needs to be researched, but you're on the right path, man.
Yeah.
Can you send me a link, because I'm curious about the different mechanisms?
Yes, I'll send you a link afterwards. We should get started in the breakout rooms because we're already past time right now. But sure. Yeah, it also depends on how many people are in the total, how many people have grants and so forth too. So it's rather complex. But yeah, thanks, Noam, for the questions, and Perry for the answer and the insights as well. And I'll start the breakout rooms now, and we can continue the discussion afterwards. We're also 7 minutes past the hour, so we'll keep the breakout rooms going for 55 minutes total. So it'll end, I suppose, 2 or 3 minutes after the top of the hour. And hope everybody has a great time. There is 12 participants here, so we'll just start up 2 breakout rooms now, and I'll open them now, and hope everybody.
I just want to say I like the new Lenny before we go. I like the new Lenny.
Sounds great. I like the new Lenny too. Yeah, Lenny's got a new look, and he's also got hands to show it off too.
I scared the shit out of my daughter when she saw me through the door the other day.
Oh, yeah. Well,
stranger coming.
It looks cool, and now we'll have to hold off our jokes on the beautiful beard for a while, at least, I suppose.
Thanks.
Hey, everyone.
Okay. Good, everyone. What's up, guys? What's up, Dan?
Hi, Joe.
Hi, everyone.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Joe?
Hey, Joe. Good to see you. And looking cool in front of your artistic city as well. Douglas, is there any way that you can use like headphones like that? Because the audio is still having issues.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And well, I suppose maybe I should wait till Douglas gets back. But I was going to ask if anybody wanted to. I was going to ask if anybody wanted to lead the discussion and kind of host / moderate the breakout room. I'm happy to do so if y'all would like. But if anybody else would like to, that's cool too.
I nominate you, Dan.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'm happy to accept the nomination and thank you. Although if anybody else wants to, then I suppose now would be a good time to say so as well, because I have to go either way. But looks like not, and looks like Douglas is having some issues as well. So hopefully he's able to join back.
Maybe you'll reconnect with something that has a better microphone.
Yes, I certainly hope so. He's doing really awesome work, and be a shame if he's not able to join back. But I'm sure he will be able to. I suppose maybe we can just wait for a minute or two while he rejoins before we go into contributions, unless anybody's eager to get into it already. But is there anything anybody would like to share while we're waiting for Douglas? Douglas is back. So you said, Noam, that those two Earths, one of them is not possible.
That's right.
And why is that? Could you give like the quick explanation? I missed it. It's something about the mirror image or something.
Yeah, if you look at the one on my left, it's the opposite of the way it should be.
Okay.
Actually, no. Oh,
Interesting. By the way, Douglas, is your audio better now?
I think it should be. Can you hear background noise?
No, it sounds awesome now. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, no problems.
something is.
You're right, no, because it's Africa is lying on the wrong side of Arabian Gulf, etc.
Something happened to my picture.
I know, does it have anything to do with the air movement, the air current movement?
With what?
Air current movement,
I can't hear what you're saying.
air current, the jet streams, have anything to do with that?
Oh, well, not intentionally in any case. But I'm going to go check what happened here because.
Yeah, well, coming
Okay.
across here, it's the way we said it's a mirror image. You have India, then you have Saudi Arabia, etc. Then you got Africa, etc., etc. So it's a totally wrong way.
Right.
Mirror.
Well, we can come to consensus about the about the position of the Earth at another time, and we should probably come to consensus on different matters now.
Yeah.
Just first off, before we proceed, Douglas, I don't know if you heard before, but I was just asking if anybody else wanted to lead the discussion and to kind of host or moderate, and I offered to do so, and Noam nominated me, so I'm happy to do so. But if you'd like to help lead it, or that's cool too.
No, I'd be happy to have you lead, Dan. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. You're welcome, and thank you. Would anybody like to go first and share what they've been working on and their contributions and so forth?
I can go first if no one's jumping.
Sounds good.
So yeah, I've been working on Aquadac, which I'll tell more about. And we met for our sort of last, I guess, practice meeting where we sort of ran through the format roughly. We had 4 people. Dan was there. Super grateful to have Dan. It honestly gives me a lot of hope and faith and energy towards the project to see him and to know how dedicated as well as how wise he is on the sort of all the fractal stuff that's been going on. So yeah, that I see that as a big sort of step, moving towards a different way to do a fractal where we don't focus on as much of a well-defined collective goal, whether or not that's present in any other fractals, but we actually declare that, okay, we're rewarding you based on your individual goals, and your individual goals, you have to publish them before you could sort of take part in the system. So I think that that's going to be not just good for us, and it is good for us because if it does work, maybe other fractals in the future would adopt something, a similar approach to this. It also, I'm not sure if any other fractals are using like the season method. We're using like 3-month seasons going from like equinox to solstice to equinox to solstice, where we declare these sort of fuzzy goals, which are then each person has to fit their self-growth goals within that. So I'm not sure where I am with time, but that was pretty much all I did. Yeah, that's what I got. And thank you to Rosemary, who's not here, but thank you to her for being at that meeting as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for hosting that, Douglas. I think it's an amazing idea initiative, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm looking forward to future ones. I think it's yeah, super excited about it. Also, welcome Evgeny too. Great to see you, and also I love your background too. Thanks for sharing the artwork. And it looks especially cool with your head being centered, and also welcome Victor too. So as a logistical note, there's 14 people total who have joined, and Evgeny and Victor joined later, and we had 6 people in there. The way that the software works is there can only be 6 people who participate in consensus in each meeting. We could potentially break this into 2 groups of 4 if we want to have everybody participate, although I don't know if we should because we already started, and sometimes when people join late, we just did it where the people who were here first were the 6 people who could participate in consensus. But I'm open to doing it. However, I would love to also be able to give respect to Evgeny and Victor if they can participate. And great to see you, Victor, by the way, too. Thanks for joining. So yeah, does anybody have any thoughts about the best way to proceed? And now that we have the 8 of us here.
I think we can continue here. Not to split into other group.
Okay. Well, the only issue is that only 6 of us can participate in consensus. So if we did that, then I suppose it would just be the first 6 people who joined would be able to participate in consensus, and then you and Victor, I would be able to spectate and watch and hang out, but and share your thoughts, but wouldn't be able to actually earn the respect in this meeting. So would that be all right with you, or?
It's okay. I'm late, so I can just watching, and no problem. I will just listen and watch you, and did not take part in the election.
Okay, well, sounds good. Thank you, Evgeny, for being here, watching, and being so kind, understanding, and graceful about it. And would that be cool with you, Victor? And is that cool with everybody else as well?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's okay. I'll be watching since I came late. It's okay. I'll be following up.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Well, I thank you. I very much appreciate your spirit about it as well, and you being here and watching, and then also all the great ways you're contributing in general too. And yeah, I'll be very happy to give both of you guys lots of respect in future meetings, and hope you enjoy the time here. Okay, cool. Does anybody have any thoughts for Douglas, or perhaps Douglas, if you want to nominate somebody to go next? You're muted right now, Douglas.
Okay, you want somebody else to go next. He doesn't want to turn on his microphone.
Are you not able to unmute, Douglas? Okay, Douglas is he's now become a mime. So okay. Well, does anybody want to go next? I heard no one speaking. Maybe if you'd like to go next, or
I'll take no. Oh, okay, he picked up. Sorry, I couldn't mute. Like Zoom does this thing where it gets stuck in full screen, so I had to battle that. But it gets stuck and then it'll shift away as soon as I go to it. It's really weird. Anyway.
Right. Okay, cool. Been there. So Noam, I think that Douglas nominated you to go next. Are you ready?
I don't have many contributions to report. I spent a lot of time talking to people on alien worlds, but maybe a month or two I'll have something to tell. Right now, it's just getting to know people and figuring out how they work things out over there. They're looking at DAOs and fractals as a possible solution for their problem, but I'm not sure how much the fractal solution is going to be able to solve their hostility problems. It might, but I think they have other problems that would be interesting to see how structures work with them. But when they have some criminals and accusations going back and forth, it would be interesting to see how fractal democracy can work in that kind of an environment, because it's one of the most challenging environments for fractal. And I'd like to hear what other people had to say, so I'm going to cut it short today.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Noam. I have a lot of thoughts about that, and happy to discuss that more. But in essence, time maybe if you'd like to, unless anybody has any thoughts about that for now. But if you'd like to pick somebody else to go next.
Joe, Lenny, whichever.
You said Joe first, so let's go, Space Wrangler.
All right, Lenny, excuse me. Okay, so this week I got a chance to speak with Dan finally. That was nice. He caught me up on a lot of real simple questions on the history and directed me in different ways to do my own research and kind of review some of the videos. Checked out the Discords, Eating Fractals. I checked out Nova Cryptos. Kind of looking at the messages and you know, how things have developed there. I got to review Eric Westrick, I don't know how you say his last name, his document with the Fallbrook Art Association and what he's doing with that, which as an artist myself, I'm pretty interested in that use case and the data that comes from that. I've been talking to a bunch of people in this game of Upland, which is the biggest EOS DApp that there is. And most of these people have no idea that, you know, their accounts in this game that they're highly invested in are connected to EOS. They don't even realize that it is an EOS game. They have community, they have a voting structure already within that game. They have a big interconnected community, a bunch of them. And so I've just been talking to different people in there and kind of explaining to them about this whole process, about Dan Larimer, about the concept of Fractally, about its relation to our system. And it's been a perfect time actually with the second bailout we got going on here. I think most people are really dissatisfied with our financial system and our political system. And yeah, so I've actually been, you know, getting a lot of positive feedback. And then as far as what Douglas said, I really like his concept of individuals creating their own goals and, you know, mission statements, or however you want to put it, vision, etc. Because I know we've been trying to come up with something here and it's kind of difficult. So I think if everyone could see what everyone's personal goals are, it might actually help to, you know, direct that larger mission statement and goal. Yeah, so that's some of the things I've been doing this week. I can't think of anything else right now. And I'll nominate Lenny because you were second.
All right, thanks, Joe. And I'm short and sweet as usual, and I follow the old Fractal Genesis one, just a little bit what am I. Most of you would know it already. Recaps, as usual, the weekly ones, EOS and Eden Fractal. And then I concluded, I think, yeah, it would have been last week, the delegate commitments made from the last election. And right now I'm working, so that's completed in that link I posted. And it's basically commitments made. And unfortunately, I don't see many of them being made, but that's a different story. That's for another day. But I'm also posting a summary here because there's at least a dozen of issues, big problems with the election, even if it's our official 5th election, and I'm talking Eden now, not Eden Fractal. Even now, 5th official election, 1/3 of them don't know what time it starts, and similarly. And how do we get to the right Zoom rooms? They're playing around with different links. You know, these things, we got to fix them. And I hope I do it. But I'm making a summary of that and posting hopefully tomorrow of these issues. I went through it a little bit, statistics on it, just to put weight on them. Then what is possible and feasible to fix code-wise and whatever, that's a different story. They've done one big step. They've gone to UTC on the UI. I've been preaching that for quite some time, because it's a very vital thing if you're talking globally, because it doesn't matter that you know your local time if your guy from across the world asks what time it is. Then you have to do maths and often do mistakes. But anyway, besides that, no invites made as usual for the same reasons I claimed before. And last week I was level 1, cheerful like ever as usual. Thank you, and I pass it to Marco.
Hey guys, last week I was level 2. Always good to hear from Lenny, but it's starting to get repetitive. I wanted to join Douglas's thing, but I was engaged in something at the time, and then I saw the commitment that needs to go into it, and I figured I had to read the whole thing carefully. So I still hope to attend, but it looks like that may be passed. But anyway, I always look at whatever Douglas is doing. I'm not a musician, but I listen to music. And in the chat, I'm just posting something I tried to do. This was one of my promises as an Eden on EOS, not Fractal delegate, and that was to offer the opportunity for everyone who was a member of Eden on EOS, not Fractal, treasury funds for providing their opinion, but not just a well thought out opinion. Doesn't look like I'm gonna need to do much work, and it doesn't look like I'm gonna need to expend much money on that. But if you are an Eden on EOS member and you like the Fractal and you think the Fractal should be implemented in there, please share your ideas. If you're not a delegate, you're entitled to 10 EOS. If you are a delegate, I think it's 5 EOS. And if for chief delegates, I allocated 1. So more to the people that haven't been paid from the Treasury. And if I do end up getting enough, I'll try advertising a couple more times. I'll create a report on that, with quotes and things like that. I've done other things. Continue to write the newsletter. I'll pass it off to Dan. Dan, have you gone?
No, I have not gone yet. Thank you, Marco. Thank you for all the continued great work. It's really awesome to see all the things you're doing, as well as everybody. This has been super inspiring so far. So thank you so much, all. And I'll share my presentation about things I've been doing. Actually, first I have to just load it up. I have to do one little thing here to make sure that I can share the screen. Just a moment. And yep, sorry for the delay, but now it should be working good, and I am ready to go. And I'll take a note of the time to make sure I don't go too long. Cool. So here's what I've been doing for Eden and the Eden Fractal community lately. So as I mentioned before, I put together the show notes for Eden Fractal 40. I still haven't done most of them yet, but I did spend a while just trying to fix Tadas's presentation, because I think what he's doing with Firmament is really, really helpful. And so I want to help promote that as much as possible. I also met with Vlad and Tadas recently to discuss ways to promote and raise funding for Firmament and the tools that Tadas and Vlad are building too, as well as creating more show notes and stuff like that, because I didn't have a chance to do that. So working on funding plans, working to help promote Firmament, as well as all these different show notes about Aquadac that I will improve in the coming day or so forth before sharing it more. And then in addition to that, yes, I spent a while just editing that video that people can check out. I also, as I mentioned before, I created an Eden Fractal Pomelo collection, where I am featuring people who participate in Eden Fractal meetings and helping to promote that, and also helping to promote especially people who are helping people cooperate with consensus games and Fractal cooperation. So I just put this together yesterday. I'll add to it more, but I just put some of the people who I know have done a lot of work for the Eden community, and I really appreciate. And I'm going to be worked on some plans to promote these at the upcoming meetings, upcoming pitch sessions, and so forth. I think it'll be a great way to rally the community around different grants. If anybody has any grants that I missed here, then please feel free to reach out. And if people aren't familiar with collections, they're basically like, I don't know, curating grants that are good for people. So I shared some chats in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat about it, where people can learn more about collections. I also put up a Pomelo pitch for Eden Town Hall too. I updated the show notes for meeting 37, and that's about dams. And then I put up this Eden Town Hall pitch for the first time. Previously it was kind of within the Eden Fractal Pomelo pitch, but this season I've been working a lot on making it better at edentownhall.com and edentownhall.com/episodes with cool thumbnails and so forth. So I wrote a bit about this, quite a bit about it. And then I wrote about how funding can be super helpful, and how most of the work that I'm doing right now is volunteer for like 70 hours a week, and how it would be really helpful to make it more sustainable, and also be able to hire help to be able to make many more video clips and do awesome work and so forth. So I put some effort into just writing that well to help convey all the cool things that we're doing with Eden Fractal and Eden Town Hall, which I love to help promote on the Town Hall. And then I also resubmitted my grant for Creator Talk too, and I wrote a little bit of an update from last season. This is the podcast that I released, did first episode with Tadas about the Eden plus Fractal process that we cooperate with here. And so I just kind of touched up this text a little bit. Actually, it's not loaded, the touched up version, so you're seeing the version I had from last season. But if I refresh it, then perhaps you can see, you can see I just cleaned it up a little bit over here, and then you can watch the full videos there. And then there's a last season update that I added there, just to show that I'm working on speaking with more guests. If people are interested in joining the show or the Eden Town Halls, then please feel free to reach out. Happy to use these as platforms to help promote the work of great people in the community. So yeah, I put that together. I also, I was the first guest on Rosemary's new podcast, Community Stories, which I'm super excited about. It was awesome doing this show with her. And so yeah, we actually filmed this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but she was editing it and working on all the backstory and stuff like that. So people can check it out now that it's released. She put it on the Eden Creators YouTube channel, and she's also putting up an article there too. And I also I helped her. I've been speaking with her quite a bit about Pomelo pitch, trying to help her build her marketing consulting business, as well as promote her new podcast with the EOS community too. So it's been really cool, and I'm really excited about that. I also participated in the Art Fractal on every Saturday at 16 UTC, although they're now changing it. The Eric's hosting. Those are going really well, and it was a pleasure joining this and contributing how I can, and helping people make the world better through art. I love to see that. And then I also participated in the Aquadac as well. Actually, I didn't pick up the right picture here, but I picked up Aquarius Academy picture, and I showed the previous picture before. Douglas talked about it, but this is for Aquarius Academy, which has all sorts of great spiritual learnings and stuff. It was a really cool thing. I really love the way of how Douglas is using these consensus games to help people accomplish their own goals. So I put together a quick page about my rebirth goals to help, or rather to make more music. I love playing music, and I haven't had much time to do it lately. So planning to do that. And then I also started to just briefly curate more about Aquadac in this article. I'll share more of it later. I think I just opened the link where people can, nope, I didn't actually. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on that, and plan to participate every Tuesday at whatever time that is, like 18 or 20 UTC or whatever. And then also I was in communication conversation with Douglas about Eden Fractal tools, because Douglas was thinking about helping people with consensus games for for the Aquadac. So I wrote with Douglas back and forth. This is the old tooling article that I didn't change, what I share with him, and then I put together a new tools article. I'll merge these articles soon, but I just kind of curated a bunch of the tools that we're using, like Eden Fractal web app and Congendagram, and explaining all the different resources that we have, as well as some articles that I've been working on writing for documentation and welcoming and so forth. I think that's been about 5 minutes, so I'll wrap it up there. And yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. Happy to answer any questions. And I suppose now at this point, we've all gone who are participating. We have about a half hour remaining to come to consensus about both delegates and ranks. And Evgeny and Victor
Are we
here,
going to use the Telegram app?
Yes, I think that's definitely a good idea. I'm in the process of loading that up, actually. I don't have it loaded, but I'll have it up in a few minutes. Perhaps if anybody has any questions or comments for anybody, then that would be cool. Or maybe if Evgeny or Victor would like to share a little bit about what they're doing, then that'd be cool too. But I see Marco has your hand up. What's up, Marco?
How do we use the Telegram app?
Have you not used it before? Or are you asking how to start it?
Yeah, no, I tried it. I've used it. How to start it, how to host it.
Okay, cool. Well, I suppose in this case, for simplicity, unless anybody else knows how to host it, then I can host it. And then I can show you the links to learn how to host it. But basically, it's pretty simple. You have to open up this link, which I'll share in the chat. I'll also share it in the Telegram live chat as well. So I shared it in the Zoom chat and then also the Telegram live chat. And so you click that. You have to do it from a browser, I think, not from the native app. If you have like a PC or Mac or iOS app or whatever, I think it needs to be done from a browser like Chrome or Firefox or Safari. And then there's an article that Hadas had written that provides step-by-step instructions. Pretty simple. It's like you start a group, then you invite the people, and then there's some prompts that you follow. And I encourage. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I encourage everybody to learn how to do it when you get a chance. It's a great thing, especially if there's new people in the group. I don't know how many people are doing it. I know like Hadas and Vlad know how to do it, but it's a really helpful tool. So pretty simple to learn. I'll share the blog article later so you can look into it, and then feel free to reach out with any questions or comments.
It's asking me to log into Fractal. Didn't do that before.
Yeah, for some reason it logged out for me on my browser, so I'm logging back in and I have to go scan a QR code to link it up. So I'm figuring out how to do that right
Where
now.
do I get the QR code?
If you go to your settings, I think, and then you click on the top left, then, or maybe not actually, I'm trying to figure out how to do it actually. Yep. Yeah, if you go to settings and then devices and then go to link desktop device, or I don't know if it's a different device for you, but
I'm trying to vote from my tablet, so I'll do it the other way around. Hopefully that'll work too.
okay. Well, yeah, it's still not set up yet, but okay, yeah, sounds good, makes sense. Yeah. Well, while we're getting this set up, I'll have it set up and ready to go in a minute or two. But does anybody want to ask me questions, or perhaps Evgeny or Victor, if you'd like to share a little bit about what you've been doing, even though you're not able to participate in consensus right now? It'd still be great to hear from you if you want to just share a quick update or say hello or anything like that.
Please come again.
I was just asking if you wanted to just share a quick update on what you've been doing, or say hello, or ask anybody any questions or anything.
Okay, thank you so much, Dan. Good evening, everyone. Okay, what I'm doing is right now, what I can be able to participate is the EOS Synergy. We always have it on Saturdays, Sundays, and Tuesdays, 7 p.m. UTC. And for Saturdays and Sundays, it's open mic where we share information about Web3 and EOS, mostly to participants on Twitter. Sorry, it's on Twitter Spaces. and we have to make sure that people understand that is what we always do. I always be there to make sure that I disseminate the small information I have about EOS and share to everyone. Yeah, that is what I do on every week.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks for the update and continue to work every week, Victor. I checked out one of the new EOS Synergy shows and it was really interesting. So I didn't know you're working with that, but glad to hear and looking forward to listening more and collaborating.
Yeah.
Hello, I just wanted to say about my work the past week. As always, I make a lot of post tweets, retweets, translation, some interesting tweet into Russian and spread it in Russian-speaking community. I met some people in crypto community who asked about DAO, and I told them about DAO in how Fractal and Eden Fractal and Eden work in EOS, and people also very interesting, and they asked me to tell more detail in their chat, and when I became to their chat, it's called Green Initiative DAO. I surprised that people already found the Hyper project and they already know about Hyper on Eden and on Hyper on EOS, and try to integrate it in their DAO. And finally, I found a lot of Russian-speaking developers and try to bring them to EOS community. For example, I found some interesting developer who suggests to make a project for EOS. I tried to tell about it on town hall that then making every Sunday, but I was not ready, so I am now working to write, to make something like, I don't know, white paper about this project, and then I communicate a lot with developer of Alcor, and I involve him to work with EOS because Alcor Exchange is more famous on Wax. But in the first, Alcor was developed for EOS, but now the main people who use it, they are on Wax. So now I show him some project on EOS that can help him to promote his exchange. For example, Bee Swarms and EOS Respect, and we work with him with this direction, and I think he will bring a lot of value to EOS network. That's all. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Evgeny. That's all awesome to hear, and I really appreciate all the work you're doing, promoting what we're doing here and working with developers, and really excited to see your next plans. Thanks also for sharing at the town hall. So awesome. I see Marco has his hands up. We should be pretty quick because we have about 20 minutes left to reach consensus. If anybody has any questions
I clicked the link on the Fractalgram and I'm seeing a blank screen. Did you send a message that we're supposed to reply to?
No, I have not yet. I'll share that momentarily.
Okay.
So
that explains why I don't see it.
Yes, that's
Remember, I
correct.
don't know if it's just the replies or it's actually entering the group. Only the ones participating in the consensus.
Yes.
Yes.
There's actually a limitation where you can only have up to 6 people in the group, or else it won't work too. So I see Victor, you join. Would you mind leaving the group so that
Yeah.
we'll be able to participate
Oh.
here?
Oh, I joined, but I am not going to participate. Is it okay?
No, there's only a max of 6 people, or else the Fractogram app won't work. And so, of course, you're very welcome to be here on the Zoom call, but the actual Telegram app, it only works if there's less than 6 people. So,
Okay.
uh, thanks. And then also a couple people haven't joined yet. I think we have who hasn't joined? Joe hasn't joined, and also Noam. You said you joined, I think, but I'm not seeing you
No,
here.
I clicked on the link, but I don't see. Let me try that again.
Okay.
Yeah, I was having the same issue. Oh no, you got a new link here. Okay.
Yeah, I can share it again in the chat, or it's the top one. Yeah, and then there's a new one. So just to be clear, Noam, I shared the one that's like the general link to start up the Fractogram app first, but then just a couple minutes ago, I shared the actual link for the group.
Okay,
So,
and that's on the live chat as well? Because I don't see it.
yes, it's on either the Telegram live chat or on the Zoom live chat. You should be able to see the link either way. It's like t.me. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I didn't share it in the live chat of the Telegram. It's just in the Zoom chat. So check the Zoom chat, Noam, and you should be able to see it on the bottom.
Oh, it's on the Zoom chat, not on the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, my
Can you
apologies.
share it on? Can you share it on Telegram as well? Because my Anchor wallet is only working on my tablet. It's not working on my PC, and I don't want that.
Sure. I just sent it to you via private message on Telegram.
That's fine.
And while Noam's getting into that, does anybody have any questions, particularly for any of the people participating in consensus? Normally we have more time to discuss and so forth, but we still have 15 minutes or so. But does anybody have any questions or thoughts for anybody who is participating in consensus?
Okay.
Okay. If not, then that's cool too. And I will do the account prompt.
Space Wrangler Joe is participating, right?
Yes. And
Oh,
Joe is JH in Telegram.
He's the one out of everybody that I guess I don't have some grasp on what he did this week.
He's the one that I really what?
I have a firm grasp of what he did this week. Just like to summarize.
Oh, okay. If you'd like to just give a quick summary, Joe, again, maybe just a 30-second summary to further elaborate for Marco, then that might be helpful. What you've been doing.
Okay, yeah,
lately.
sure. I think it was only 30 seconds to begin with, but I'll do it again. Yeah. So I met with Dan outside of the meetings to get caught up. Reviewed Eric Westrich's FAA, the Fabric Art Association thing. I've been talking with people in the Upland Metaverse who all are EOS account members who don't really know, and trying to inform them about consensus and try to get a group together to bring and involve and educate about this. And I forgot what else I mentioned. I don't know. I think that's it.
One other thing also add to that too, Joe, that you've done that. I think it's a huge contribution that I think you still haven't really received the respect that you deserve for it, because you joined late at a few meetings and so forth. But a couple weeks ago, you started the conversation with Michael Yates, who's the creator of Alien Worlds, lead developer, and he's now interested in using Eden Fractal tools with Alien Worlds. So that's super helpful. So thank you so much for that.
I've been talking
as
to
well as a bunch of
Michael
other
Yates
stuff,
as
too.
well.
Cool. I heard you were doing lots of conversations in the Alien Worlds community. So that's great to hear as
When I
well.
said I was talking to a bunch of people, he was one of them.
Cool. That sounds great. Well, he's awesome. He does incredible work. So glad to hear that you guys are both are both in communication with the Alien Worlds community. All right. If everybody can please enter their EOS account. So far, Lenny, Noam, and myself have done it, but please reply to the message where it says, please enter your EOS account as a reply to this message with your EOS account. If anybody has any other questions for anybody, then now is a good time. And I think we're missing one person right now, right?
Yeah, it's me. Sorry, I'm putting it in right now.
Okay.
I
sounds
have to
good.
jump back and forth. I'm on mobile. I didn't see that I needed to do that. Sorry about that.
Okay, sounds good.
Who's
Thanks.
JH? Fourth one?
That's me,
That's who?
Joe, Space Wrangler
Oh,
Joe.
Joe. Okay.
Okay, cool. I'll just say that this is a super difficult meeting because I want to give everybody so much respect. Man, okay.
Hey, we aren't really following the original intent with all these small groups. So maybe we can start a secondary pool and then bring that in a way, as we're small. I'm just thinking of fun ways to grow it and get more people engaged.
Okay, I like fun ways to grow it and get people more engaged, but I'm not totally sure what you mean by not following the original intent and doing different groups.
Original intent had a minimum viable number. That minimum viable number we haven't reached.
Oh, you mean as far as like the really big group size, like the hundreds or thousands of people or something like that, or
For it to
fractally?
work, yeah, for it to work on 67% for 2 out of 3 plus 1 or whatever, and the 6 members in a group, or 4 to 6, and all that.
Right.
All those are based on a minimum viability number for population. So because of that, we were able to, Tadas was able to improve the delegations, and I think maybe a secondary pool while we're small for highly engaged groups, or for something like this, we have 8 members here. We don't have to think about a lot of stuff until things even out. I don't want to take any more time. What do we get? 10 minutes?
Yep, sounds good. I'm interested in exploring that idea, so it sounds great. But yeah, we should get to consensus though. We only have 13 minutes or so to do everything. So if everybody's ready to vote, then please vote for level 6.
Looks like I'm the only one who voted up until now.
Okay, I just voted as well.
All right. Until we have consensus.
Okay, it looks like I have consensus. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Although there's also a lot of people who I wanted to give more respect to, but I appreciate that a lot. So I'll accept that and appreciate it. Is everybody ready for level 5? Okay, and it looks like Douglas has consensus with 4 to 6. Cool. Only difference was Marco voted for Lenny and Lenny voted for, or Douglas voted for Lenny, but otherwise Douglas has 4 to 6. Cool to see. And I'm especially happy to see it too. I still want Douglas to be number 6 in one of these. I don't know if he's gotten level 6, he's gotten level 5 a few times now. But happy to see that. Level 4. And it looks like there's 2 votes for Joe, 2 votes for Marco, and 2 votes for Lenny. Would anybody like to share their thoughts?
That's a tough choice.
I voted for Lenny. He put me first. What a gentleman.
That's a bad one. No, I put Marco again. I had him last to rank 2 actually, because he's done quite a massive lot of work and similar out of EOS respect and going through different projects and stuff, which I respect highly. And as for me, Joe, I much appreciate it, but in all due honesty, both yourself and Marco and I feel both of you actually been doing more work compared to me. I just go through my normal routine, you see. Thanks. So I'm pretty flexible, but Marco is not a bad option as per me.
I'll,
I initially had a Joe for level 6 because I thought I didn't know if I'd seen him at level 6. And you know, after he didn't make it, I thought the new project, I just wanted to promote it more. At least get more eyes on it if nobody contributes, it's fine. And as far as Lenny, well, you have the Iron Man like Cal Ripken, and then sometimes he just takes it. I give the same hats off to EOS Vision that's there every day. I'm there every couple of weeks producing something. But yeah, I can't go wrong with any of the choices here. I wanted to change.
yeah.
How do I change my vote in Telegram? For
You can
some reason it doesn't let me click.
you can right click and hit retract vote, and then you can vote again after you do that. I'll also explain my voting place too.
How do I right click on a tablet?
Just hold down a press down on it for like a second or two, and then it should bring up a menu where you can, and it should say retract vote there. And while you're doing that, I'll also share. So I voted for Joe, and I want to advocate a bit for Joe and Noam because I think that both you guys are doing really, really awesome work, and I really appreciate it. And I really want to see you guys get more respect, especially how you guys are advocating in the Alien Worlds community and also working with the Upworld community too. I know that you guys have both joined more recently and have both been contributing immensely. And so I also love what Marco and Lenny are doing. And I was saying it's really tough because I know Marco and Lenny said they got 1 and 2 last week, which doesn't feel right because they're doing so much. But also I love to show support for people who joined more recently and are doing great work too. So that's why I voted for Joe, and also would like to advocate a bit for Noam as well, because you guys are both doing really, really helpful work, and I'm super grateful for it. And I hope that you'll continue to be inspired to do it. And I'm looking forward to many collaborations with both of you.
I can say that I do rate higher specific eating contributions. And while I did put together the timeline, I do have plans for more dedicated chunk segments for eating Fractal. My major focus isn't there. So, you know, Lenny does recaps. Anytime we can get Fractally out there in the community, that's a big advantage right now.
Okay, cool. Good points. I think that Joe has consensus now. He's got 4 to 6. So we have about 6 minutes left or so. So we can move on to level 3. And so far, there's been 5 people who voted. Noam hasn't voted, but it looks like Marco has 4 out of 5 consensus so far. I don't know if Noam is still trying to figure out how to retract your vote or something like that, but okay.
No, I was trying to retract the other one and I was holding off because I didn't want to be in a situation where I can't retract. I still can't figure out how to retract the vote.
Okay. Yeah, if you're on mobile, it should just be holding, pressing it down, I think.
But
or maybe
pressing it down doesn't give me a retract option.
Okay.
That looks like we have.
Yeah, it looks like we have consensus, by the way, on Marco at level 3. So now we can go to level 2.
And I speak for Noam. He's been doing a more productive effort, I believe, for future. Thank you.
Yeah, but Lenny, you can't take a back seat 2 weeks in a row. The spotlight has to be on the news provider, so you can't.
Be careful what you say. I might be back with a sledgehammer next week.
Well, I'm from Manhattan, so you're gonna have to knock down a lot of buildings to get to me.
Okay, so far we have 5 votes in, and Noam voted for
I have
Lenny,
to change it.
and Lenny voted for Noam.
I'm changing for no,
Okay.
but we need to watch Lenny because now he can throw any words out there. People read it, they believe whatever it is, and we'll get cartoon news pretty soon.
Lenny's doing very helpful work and doing more promotion than anybody in many ways with the recaps, putting every week for both Eden Fractal and everything else you're doing. So that's very, very much appreciated.
And still, I prefer to lurk in the dark shadows. You know, I pop up once in a while. I mean, you better be careful.
I'm hoping that in
Isn't it
a few months I'll get to the point where I'll be able to say the same thing you did, but I'm not there yet. At this point, I'm not sure my contributions are. I'm still learning. That's about it.
Well, just learning is a
I-
big contribution, Noam. I know that you're investing a lot of time in learning and asking great questions and also sharing some great messages in the chats too. So I think you're
Thanks.
contributing very much already.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have about 2 minutes left to choose a delegate. I'm trying to
Dan,
look
you
at.
need to be. This is your week, and your delegate's expired, right?
I was elected delegate last week, I'm pretty sure, but also.
Oh, you were. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So you don't need to be re-elected. So it's up to someone else if they want to.
yeah. I see Marco raising your hand. Are you interested in being a delegate now, Marco?
maybe expired? So
I'm looking at the spreadsheet right now. It looks like you're not expired, but I'm a little confused because Stas didn't update it, looks like. But you were elected 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I see Lenny's not a delegate, it looks like, unless you were elected last week, Lenny. And
let's
then,
elect Lenny.
what's that?
Let's elect Lenny.
I can't hear you.
Lenny, are you interested? Are you running?
I don't mind to sit back a little bit and catch up with some other works and stuff in case of. I still be present during the meeting, so I rather have someone else go in. I can still talk in the chat.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So right now, Marco is the only candidate.
I would also be happy to be a delegate too, although if I was elected in last week's council and Mark was elected in 2 weeks' council. Also, if Douglas or Joe or Noam, you guys have all been participating often. You guys
I don't
interested in
feel
being
ready
delegates?
for it yet.
Okay.
You know, when do I expire? Because I think I did it a couple weeks ago as well for my first time.
Yeah, you were in Council 20, so I'm not sure. I think we're in Council 23 right now. Yeah. So that means that yours will expire. You're a delegate currently this week, but it will expire next week.
Okay.
So I guess is it just between Marco and myself right now, or?
If Joe wants to, I mean, he's the one that expired sooner. So if he's interested.
What's the deal with the double delegate duty?
Basically, it just you get twice as much voting power. You get to vote in 2 councils than 1.
Oh,
Elections are done not by votes, but by council votes. And you can only participate in the council ring.
oh, so if I vote for you, Dan, you get 2 votes in the delegate council?
Yes, that's correct.
I see.
he can influence 2 councils. He doesn't get necessarily 2 votes towards the overall. He can influence how.
Well, no, there's 4 different councils, and then they form kind of like
I
a meta council. So whoever gets in 2 councils can vote in 2 different councils.
Oh, I see. Okay. So,
Yes, and we do have to come to consensus because we're over time right now. I voted for myself. I would like to be a delegate again, but if Marco would like to be a delegate, then or if I would want to vote for Marco, then I'm happy with that as well. And it looks like we have 1 person who didn't vote yet. I
That's
have
me.
3 votes, and Marco has 2 votes.
You're free to vote for yourself, Joe. I could back you up.
I think it's best probably for Marco or myself to be a delegate because Joe's already a delegate, but he has a bit less experience. So, okay, and it looks like Joe voted for me, so that means I have 4-6 consensus. So that means I'll be a delegate now. And thank you for the vote and support and everything. Thanks for the great meeting. I'm looking forward to voting you as a delegate in the future as well, Marco. I really appreciate everything you're doing. Cool. I'll just put out this and then wrap up the room because we're a minute over time right now. Consensus
So,
results.
can you, before you do that, can you post the message that we should be entering into
Yes.
the link and the,
Yep, for sure. I'm just figuring out what room we're in right now. Room 2, send. And so everybody can click the here button, and then it looks like it's correct, the order that we have. So yeah, everything looks correct. And I will close the breakout rooms. Thanks everyone so much.
so click the here button.
Yep.
It says, please open an Anchor wallet to review and sign the transaction.
Yep, that's
Have
correct.
the Anchor wallet open, but it's not telling me to review or sign anything.
Sometimes I need to close and open up the Anchor wallet to make it work correctly.
Okay, it puts me into a web wallet where it's not still not asking anything.
Okay, if you're not able to figure out this time, then we can figure it out later. But we have.
Yeah, I'd make a suggestion on the app, when we submit it to get the block transaction. So you can put that as well right on the successfully submitted.
I didn't totally understand that. I don't know if Tadas or Vlad understood that, or if you want to repeat that, Marco, or if that was just me misunderstood.
Once a successfully submitted a notification comes up, on there can also be the blocks.io transaction. I think that would be a nice improvement. Easy.
Oh, so you can see it on chain. Yeah, that makes sense. Seems like a good idea. And that's something that I think Vlad can add too. I'm surprised that feature's not there actually right now. Cool. Well, thanks for the suggestion, Marco. And welcome back to the community room, everybody. Hope you all had a great time in your breakout rooms. We have some exciting topics on the agenda. First off, I encourage everybody to vote on the Eden Fractal web app if you haven't already. And then I don't think we have any proposals, we just have topics, so it doesn't matter who's delegates here. But I'll share the topics on the agenda in a moment. I'll share the screen on Consortium for the 2 topics that Douglas has proposed about Aquarius Stack or Aquarius Academy and Aquadac, and the one that I proposed about Pomelo pitches. I'll share that in a moment. Is there anything anybody else would like to share before I do that? We're also a bit over time, so I apologize that we're a bit less than punctual today, but we'll also have plenty of time to get to Douglas' topic, and I think we'll be able to probably discuss both topics, but we can see how it goes. And yeah, I'll pull up the Consortium screen on a window right now, so I can show that in a moment. Anything anybody wants to add first? If not, then that's cool. I'll share my window now. So, yep, I shared a little bit about Aquarius Academy and Aquadac in the beginning, but Douglas can go into more detail about it. That's the one with the most votes right now. He's talking about Aquadac by Aquarius Academy, and he asked us to mark what we'd like to learn about Aquadac, and we'll talk about it in the Eden Fractal meeting. And he mentioned a few different topics here about, well, you can read them over here. The ones that have the most votes right now are what is collective self-realization and how can it help me or us or individuals, and then also more about aquariusacademy.org. So I don't know if he'll focus just on those. I think it's aquarius.academy. I didn't know it was .org, so I'd be interested in a clarification there. But I'm looking forward to these meetings. And Douglas, by the way, he's also been hosting these meetings. He hosted one yesterday, Tuesday, and he's hosting them on Tuesdays going forward. But I'll leave it to Douglas to explain more. And then I also put up another topic for Eden Fractal Pomelo pitch session to provide a place where everybody can share their Pomelo pitches. If you have different projects as well you'd like to promote, then you can do so too. But everybody will give 2 minutes. Even if you have a bunch of Pomelo pitches, several, then let's try to keep it to 2 minutes each day if we do get to this topic. I spoke with Douglas before, and I think he's cool with maybe doing about the first half hour of the meeting about Aquadac and the second half hour of the meeting about Pomelo pitch session. We can also, of course, play it by ear and see how it goes. Yeah, and if anybody wants to discuss their Pomelo pitch at that point, then we can go by, I guess, order of hands raised and so forth, and we could put up a timer and stuff like that to make it go well. We can talk more about that later. But first, I'll pass it to Douglas, as always, with agendas and valendas and so forth. System is basically that the proposer can get about 5 minutes to speak. If you need a bit longer, Douglas, then that's cool too. Just let us know. But generally speaking, the proposal topic gets about 5 minutes to share what they're doing. You're welcome to share your screen if you want, or if you want me to share any screens, then feel free to let me know. And then after, I just ask that everybody just listens patiently while Douglas is giving the speech. And then if you have questions or comments, then please raise your hand or share them in the live chat, either on Telegram or Zoom. We're also trying to use the Telegram live chat too, so I encourage everybody to use the Telegram live chat rather than Zoom, because a lot of benefits there. And I think that's pretty much everything. So I suppose now would be a good time, unless anybody has any questions about all that logistical stuff, feel free to jump in. Also, welcome Patrick, and welcome CAC, and welcome Jorge. Great to see you all. If you want to say a quick hello, that would be cool. If not, then
Hello.
hello, CAC. Good to hear from you again. Hope you're doing
Hello.
well.
I'm just here for a good laugh.
Sounds good. All right, I see Jorge's on mute too, so if you want to say hi, Jorge, that would be cool. Or perhaps another inspiring speech from Jorge the Savior at some point. But first, we can pass it on to Douglas, I think.
All right. So I'm going to talk about two things. Number one, what is collective self-realization? And number two is, what is the Aquarius Academy organization? And they're about even, so I'll just go ahead and talk about what is collective self-realization. And because that is really the only thing that you need to know to understand what we're doing at Aquadac. So I've been designing sort of similar systems to Fractally, although my focus has been on curation even before Eden. When I came into Fractally, I sort of had like a lot of maybe idealistic ideas. And after being here for so long, both in Eden, Fractally, and now Eden Fractal, I've sort of changed what I see as the core value of us being here. And that change has been from a systemic design perspective, where I get a sense of excitement from trying to design the best systems and trying to refine systems based upon what happens. And I've sort of changed from that to realizing like bringing people together and just watching life happen is something that's really beautiful, and trying to understand what is the human connection where is that magic coming from, and what's sort of the minimal system that we can do to make that happen. So collective self-realization is what I see as the best parts of Fractally, the most valuable parts in my life and in others' lives, sort of not ignoring all the everything else, like not ignoring the consensus mechanism as not being as important, but sort of placing the focus on how is this helping each individual. And the idea of self-realization compared to self-actualization is, in self-realization, you're becoming yourself. In self-actualization, you're becoming some idealized version of yourself, which in my mind leads to imbalance, because you can only self-actualize in one direction. It's my personal belief that when we self-realize, we become like the galactic will, which goes into a little bit of our organizational beliefs. But we become like this galactic pattern because we are governed by this galactic shape, governed by the solar system itself energetically, and by being ourselves, then we can better the planet, right? So that's a little bit complicated, but if I sort of summarize everything down into one, we're doing self-realization. So you decide who you are, and each of the themes, there's 3-month themes, each of these seasonal themes you pick your own goals, right? And we want those to be something that is in your life that you believe is a part of you, but that you need help to manifest. And then showing up every week just gives you this sort of psychological incentive to say, oh, I'm going to be watched. I'm going to have to say something about it in a week. So I want to work on it. And myself, I know, like, when I was, I might go over a little bit on time. I know that when I was starting into Fractally, I was doing a lot of work for Fractally. And like, I was like, okay, why am I doing this much work? You know, this is some magic. So what we wanted to do is we want to turn this around and say, okay, now you're going to work on yourself and do that in a collective way and sort of let this fractal experiment that we're all a part of go off in that direction. So that's what I got for that part. As far as who we are as an organization, I founded Aquarius Academy. We're like an unincorporated nonprofit, which means like if you make under a certain amount of money, you basically don't have to incorporate. And we don't make like a lot of donations. It's basically like I made a website. I teach about 5 or 6 online courses, video courses for Aquarius Academy, which have been free. And our main teaching is the 7-11 model, which is sort of a combination of channeled works, particularly the densities of light or densities of consciousness model that they talk about in both the raw material as well as a lot of other channelers. And yeah, so that's our core belief system. But the Aquadac, we're pretty black and white about you don't have to buy into sort of our beliefs of the galaxy. Like, this is a part of Aquarius Academy. Our aspirations are to have physical schools around the world, and we want to have like a school on each continent, like very different cultures, and then have young adults as well as adults go around and sort of have to graduate from each one of these campuses. So yeah, that's our end goal. And I think I went a few minutes over, or no, I probably went just a minute or two over. So I'm happy to answer any questions, as well as I'll share a link right now in the chat for anybody who wants to join. To join, you just have to sign up at this site, Luma, and it's free. And then you'll get an email when we're going to have a meeting. And then also in this link, you'll find information about how to publish your seasonal goals. And that is really the only sort of requirement right now. We talked last week about our tokenomics and decided, okay, it's not super important right now. What's important is that we're meeting. So for now, all you have to do is publish what your goals are, and then you can show up. So I posted that, and I'm open for questions.
Excellent.
Or if not, we can move on to the Pomelo pictures, because I want to see those as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Douglas. And also, if anybody has any comments as well, questions or comments, I think would be cool. And I have some comments. I asked you quite a few questions yesterday during the meeting. Also, just to be clear, those meetings are every Tuesday, right? So people can join. Everybody's welcome to join in. It's at, I guess that is, what time in UTC? Do you know what time that is?
It should be 8 p.m. UTC. So, or what, 20 hours, 100 hours. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks. I see Tadas has his hands up. Tadas?
Yeah, so as I understand, you use Fractally process in these meetings. So I'm wondering if you made any changes to that process, or do you use maybe Eden plus Fractal process like we use here? Like, just a general question about what the structure of the meetings, and if you have any any consensus process for decision making like we have here.
Sure. First of all, I've been meaning to talk to you as well as Vlad about getting the same tools set up eventually, because we would like to do as much of the process and the tech that works. I just shared another link which has a little bit of process, but one of the big changes in philosophy that I've had is from being here is that maybe we don't need that much process at first. So we just have like an outline of like a 15-minute sort of intro thing. Then we do shorter breakout rooms, or if we don't have enough people, like we have 4 people last week, so we just have 1 room, 3 minutes to present. And members have expressed that maybe these time limits need to change. And then I did write like a sort of basic, a little discussion format, like very basic. And then actually there was some feedback from the group that, not this past week, but before that, maybe that wasn't the best thing either. So then I was like, okay, well, do we have format or not? So I'm sorry if I'm not trying to dance around your question. We're not using any sort of, we haven't made these hard decisions. That's the easiest thing to say. We're open to anything, but my general philosophy is to keep it as simple as possible. Right now, we have the idea to do topics in consortium eventually, but until we get enough people, we're not sort of focusing on figuring everything out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I think that's a right perspective. It's easy to get stuck trying to create a perfect system before launching a community. Yeah, but I think you can start with meetings and people can get a lot out of them already, and you can always iterate on the process.
Yeah, and that's certainly what I saw from Fractally, and I've been trying to not get too stressed out about trying to figure everything out, because that's just kind of how I think. Perry? Or I'm sorry, Todd, did you have anything else before we move on?
No, nothing. Yeah, and I'm that way too. I get stuck too much on perfectionism sometimes.
All right, and
Cool.
Perry, your hand is up.
Yeah, Perry, you want to go ahead?
I just want to say that's awesome that somebody's creating another fractal. So that's always good for all of us. So that's positive. My question is, I think I heard you say that you were teaching channeling. Are you teaching channeling what you consider to be literal channeling or figurative channeling? What type of channeling are we talking about?
I don't actually teach channeling. I do teach a course on channeling for rap, apart from Aquarius Academy. What we teach is based upon channel teachings. So there's a guy, Rob Gauthier, as well as The Raw Material is a really popular book that was channeled. Our teachings basically take that, format it, fit it together with the like string theory, super string theory, the 11-dimensional model. We sort of fit that science as, and what people will say when they're connected to aliens, whether or not you believe these channelers are connecting to aliens or not. Yeah, so if that makes sense.
Well, I don't know about channeling aliens makes sense, but yeah. So would you say channeling grandma fits in that category?
No, so no, I don't really focus on, that's more terrestrial. We're very clear that we work with the 9th density of consciousness, so we consider ourselves a manifestation of galactic will. We don't teach you how to connect to your grandma. We're not really interested in that. That's certainly under the umbrella, but we try to divine galactic will, and try to teach that we're all a galactic family. And maybe that doesn't make sense right now, especially if you're not exposed to galactic politics. But again, like I try not to talk about it because it's like super weird, but if you ask me questions, I can tell you a lot of stuff.
Oh my God, you can't stop talking. And you can't mention galactic politics and stop talking. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, I'll give you 30 seconds. I don't want to talk forever, and I do want to get to other people's hands. But like generally galactic politics, like there's a service to self or service to other path. There's specific races of beings. You know, there's the reptilians, which is not just one race, it's a whole sort of species. And these reptilians were sort of like the bad guys, you would think of it. But they're squishing their consciousness, and all of the sort of beings are mixing together. And I see it as we're moving forward to the most exciting probability of the universe. And we're a small part of protecting the free will of the planet by sharing information that needs to be shared. So that's how we sort of fit into galactic politics, is balancing that energy, but also making sure that every possibility can express.
And this is
Very-
not, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Oh yeah, I was going to say very interesting, and also on that note too, Douglas did a very interesting podcast with Gabriel, who's joined a lot of Eden Factor meetings a while ago. I'll find a link to it where you were talking, Douglas was talking about, I think you're talking about breatharians, people who survive on breathing, and all sorts of stuff. So people can learn a lot more from Douglas there, as well as on the YouTube channel too. So I'll share some more links. I shared some links in the live chat already to the Aquadac Luma site and the Notion site. You can learn a lot of the Notion site, and also Aquarius Academy. Or Aquarius.academy, but yeah, there's lots of places where you can also learn more of Douglas's thoughts and lots of fascinating things to explore here, as well as beautiful fractal art too. So there are a few other people who have their hands raised up, Joe, Jorge, and Jeza. Was there anything else you wanted to add there real quick, or should we go on to Joe now?
Well, I guess my last question is this real, or is this a creative writing class?
It's as real as you want it to be, but if it's not real to you, please don't show up.
Okay.
I'll also add there too, and I think Douglas said it before, but the meetings. So I participated in the meeting yesterday, and I found it to be super fun and fascinating. There is it was great hearing from you, Douglas, and also Rosemary and Corellia was there and shared like really interesting work, and it's very much a personal thing. Like for example, my goal was to play more music and to share more music and so forth. And other people had work goals about music and their careers and so forth too. So I think it's fascinating to explore the spiritual side, but there's I think there's something in it for everybody, and I'm really excited about it. Anyway, I don't want to speak too much. I'll pass on to Jonah.
So, yeah, my first question would be just about the galactic will. I know you talked about galactic politics, but yeah, the first thing would be galactic will. And there's a lot of vagaries, right? Self-realization, self-actualization, like they're very, very open to interpretation, right? But if you could clarify the galactic will thing, because that seems to be, like you touched on it a few times, is like that's the focus almost.
Sure. So yeah, Aquadac, like Dan was saying, it's very individualized. And I just believe that if we all focus on our individual goals, we're doing the galactic will, if that makes sense. So I don't want to spend too much time going off on a tangent. I will type in I'll share a link to our thing, which explains the layers of consciousness. And then if you focus on the 9th density, that is the galactic will. To give it 10 more seconds, I believe the galactic will is in charge of DNA. And there's basically a shift in the DNA by this information, which is disseminated from the fractal core of the toroidal shape of the universe, which then goes on to the sun, which then goes to the electromagnetic sphere of the earth, which then goes to the electromagnetic sphere of the human, which then goes to the individual cells, which cause the shifts in your DNA, which we hope to help guide people to receive.
Okay, 9th layer of density. Wait, ninth density layer of consciousness. That's a new term to me. And I like the goal thing. I think it's great. I like that there's another fractally. I like that there's consensus games going on. I think I've done audio and met Bashar, who's a channeler, very famous one. I am very skeptical of all that personally. I think most people are. I think that I don't want to poo-poo your idea at all or anything, you know what I mean? But I think that this whole thing was created about real world issues that people can grasp and understand. These are not those things. These are way beyond that. And I think it may have some sort of a negative view that it's like, oh, they're dealing with this weird shit, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
sure.
my only concern with it.
You know, I've had that concern in the past, and now I'm grateful for it because it's almost like an energetic barrier that people can't get past. And you need those sort of barriers to create safe spaces. And yeah, so I thank you, Joe. Let's move on to Jorge if we can, because I do want to. I think I want to honor all the awesome Pomelo pitches and see those as well. And we're getting close to 30 minutes. So
Cool.
Jorge.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes, yes. Hello, guys. Yeah, I have several things to comment regarding this. One thing is that I do believe that this is more real than it seems, and the biggest indicator I find is the behavior of the powers that be, that put a very strong emphasis on the dealing of consciousness and mental energy. So I cannot elaborate on this now because we don't have the time, but I do encourage you guys to do not discard these things so easily. But very, very glaring example of this is, for example, we just came out of a virus that was presented to the population that held us prisoners for several months. And before the virus came, how many movies, how many TV shows, how many rumors do you remember that were presented to the mind of the population regarding exactly that subject, that theme? So it's as if a requirement for reality to exist is that first it goes through mind. As I say, I know this sounds like very out of this reality, but when you study the behavior of the powers that be, you begin to realize that they don't take these things lightly. That's the one thing. The second thing, real quick, it's a question for Douglas. I've been studying this law of attraction thing and manifestation, but I find incompatible with the principle of conservation of energy the possibility that one single mind can create a reality. I mean, the power, the energy that is, for example, in a single brain like mine, I don't think, and I don't see how it possibly can alter a whole reality. So my theory, my current theory, is that the universe actually is composed of all possible imaginable realities simultaneously running in parallel, like an ocean of all possible realities. And your consciousness as an individual is like a fish. So when you focus in something, it's not that you actually are altering reality, but you are moving in the ocean of reality towards those realities that you want to live in. And the way you perceive that is that you are materializing that realities, but those realities, but in fact, you are just moving towards them, just like when you have a radio station and you tune the radio towards hearing some kind of signal. So I wanted to hear your opinion of that, on that, if that's possible, if we don't digress too much.
Sure.
And thank you all.
Yeah, so how I understand it is it's all geometric, right? It's geometric for me. And the base shape of actually a fractal is the torus shape. And in the 7-11 model, we break down how each of these levels of consciousness operate within this toroidal shape. This is important to your question because at the core of this toroidal shape, there's quantum entanglement of information happening. So you can imagine a central processor of information, and then the information goes around the outside of the bubble and then meets at the center of the bubble at this infinitesimally small point, which you could think of as the black hole in the center of the galaxy, where the information is disseminated outward. So within this bubble, there's the lower level bubbles. So within the bubble of the galaxy, there's a bubble of the solar system, a bubble on Earth. And how we're able to have our consciousness be more powerful than what we were able to determine from quantum physics. So with quantum physics, we can determine that our perception can change the momentum, the location, or the either the momentum or the acceleration, I forget which one, of the particle through observation. But how we create these big manifestations, or like you say, the big shifts of the timeline, is by connecting to the higher bubble, because all of the information is processed at that central part. So if you connect to your central part is connected to that central part, and then that central part is able to distribute the information all over the Earth. So that's my honest answer to the question, but I feel like, we're pretty off topic, and I would like to get to the Pomelo pitches. So I hope that helps, Jorge, and I'd love to talk to you a lot more about it in the future.
Cool, sounds good. And yeah, by the way, too, because the Pomelo pitches, they don't require a vote, so I'm excited to get to them as well too. But there's lots of fascinating discussion about this too. So if people are willing to talk about Aquadac for a bit longer, I see Marco's hands up, and I have a couple thoughts I want to share too. Then if people can stick around a bit afterwards, then we can keep Pomelo pitches going past the top of the hour as well. Of course, want to respect everybody's time, but if that's cool with everybody, then that works. And I think that next Wednesday, there's also the Pomelo season open. I think it ends on next Thursday, but I'm not sure. So if there's more that we don't get to, then we can always get to them next time as well. And this has been a fascinating discussion so far. So I feel like over the past couple of weeks, we've really been going deep and been philosophical. We were talking about God and emergence, and Jorge had that speech about like organisms and all sorts of stuff like that last time. So fascinating stuff. Even Fractal going deep into the mind and the universe and the new sphere. I'll add on a couple of thoughts in a moment, but first, I see Space Wrangler Joe still has hands up, but I think that's from before, Joe. If there's something you want to add, then that thumbs up. I'm not sure exactly what that means. First, I'll pass. Okay, took the hand down. I'll pass on to Marco, and we got a heart from Patrick. We've also had, for anybody watching on YouTube, we've seen some thumbs ups and good signs. Patrick in the Zen or something. Thanks, Patrick. Marco.
Outside good, inside bad. The better you can see the stars, the closer you are to them. Why? That's scientific. They get blocked when they're harder to see, or they're unblocked, or you're closer to them when they're clearer. Particles don't have to bounce around through the atmosphere when they're clearer to see. You can see it. Now, when you can see it, you can experience it, you can feel it. And that is the universe. But if you're inside, then it's bad. So my Pomelo pitch will align with what we're doing here. And that is, because it's a fractal, I just added it to the menu of W3 Beliefs, my little registration. You can find it under community, but I'm going to see if I can get the link real quick. I think it's up. I'm going to add a little intro, and it's going to be something like.
Well, Marco, do you want to save the Pomelo pitch for after we're done with the discussion about Aquadac? Is this related to Aquadac, what you're speaking about right now, or is this more about your Pomelo pitch?
Check the link. This is my registration to Aquadac.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. I'm sorry for the confusion. Please continue, and great to see that you made that registration.
And the intro to it, I'm going to put a little header on it for people coming in that there is a fractal timeline, an even fractal timeline. We do like to support active fractal meetings. This is one of them. And while I can't speak to a lot of the philosophy because I haven't looked into it, though some of it I am sort of familiar with, I can speak to the creator. And I can speak to the creator as not just a fractal eating guy, but an EOS guy, as dedicated as you get. And I'll probably add in some of the other communities, CXC, and he's a musician, so maybe that'll help people understand a little bit better what to expect. And it'll be short, it'll be essentially something. If you like, I'll read you my registration, you can read it for yourself, it makes you more comfortable. But like that, I will say this might keep everybody. This might go with everybody. For this to be reborn, I'm letting go of inefficiencies of outdated and disproven mechanisms of modern living. And I think that speaks to a lot. It's general, but we are starting general here.
Great. Thanks, Marco. I saw you post that in the Zoom chat, w3briefs.com, in the Octafractal meetings. If you want to share your rebirth goals in the live chat of Telegram too, so everybody can see it afterwards, then that would be cool. I just posted mine as well. I put together a little draft article there, edencreators.com/rebirth, that I'm planning to add 2 more. And I see Patrick has his hands up. What's up, Patrick?
Oh, yeah, I just want to shout out Douglas for his work, continuous work about finding the true voice, inner voice. And that's very important, because if you are preaching to create collaboration between circles, you have maybe to find first what are you doing into your circle. And that's come all from the heart, then the soul, and to the mind, heart, soul, and mind, as I say. I am seeing that more and more, how it is important to rebirth yourself and to be a fresh mindset, because sometimes you think that you know a lot of things and indeed you know nothing. And about Jorge, last point on the modalization of the reality. Yeah, first we have to envision what could be a reality before to live this reality. So that's why we have a lot of movies predicting events that will come into reality later on, because the human seems to be as to envision first before to modelize a reality. And I love the work of Douglas, and we have a nice conversation with Gabriel Shaw on Camazote Finca, released on March 23rd. I have the interview with Gabriel, and we make a shout out to Douglas here because he's an active member of the Camazote in Yucatan in Mexico. So I think we need more people like Douglas abstracting a little bit sometimes what we are doing. And by the way, it's very galactic. I love it. I think Dan Sinjo is the best dog in the galaxy. He will love the galactic world by Douglas, for sure.
Yes, I do.
For
I
your
say
work,
a lot of
Patrick.
bullshit here.
Thank you. And I do love all the galactic synergies as well. I see Jorge and then Rosemary have their hands up. So thanks for sharing that, Patrick, very much. And Jorge, would like to go next?
Thank you. Well, I would like to hear the opinion of Noam Tene regarding this matter that Douglas brought up on the table. Being he a person of his age, so experienced and so focused on detail, what has he found regarding these matters? Thank you.
I would have to learn a lot more about Douglas's concepts before I could make an informed opinion. I get the sense that he speaks in a somewhat different language. We're all speaking English here, but my father is a structural engineer, and he went to the library once looking for Theory of Plates and Shells, which is a classic book in structural engineering, where they're dealing with plates that are very thick, things like floors or things like that, that they bend, they have resistance to bending, and shells, which are thinner structural things that they work in tension, but they don't bend. And the book he was looking for was checked out, but he found that the book also existed in 2 other libraries where he could check it out. One of them was a geology library, where they were talking about tectonic plates and shells, which in a sense and it's not buildings, but the theory is still the same. It's just on a completely different scale. You're not talking about something the size of a building, you're talking about the size of a continent. But the curious thing was the other library where we found it, which was a library for, it was on the gastronomy section. Somebody in the gastronomy section ordered a book on the theory of plates and shells. And I think they got confused with serving plates and seashells or shellfish. And then several years later, he was in the library for the armored divisions. And he found the book there. And they had the theory of plates and shells only. Now they were thinking about armor plates and artillery shells. The reason I brought that story up is because I get the sense that the words that Douglas is saying and the words that Perry is hearing belong to a different vocabulary. And I don't want to make the assumption that just because I use two sets of vocabularies, I actually understand the vocabulary that Douglas is using, because some of the things he says sound so foreign to me that I would assume that I still need to learn what he really means. And that's my point of view on it.
Well said.
Cool.
From between the two balls of God.
Thank you, Noam, for the thoughts and also the commentary, Perry. That's true. And yeah, it reminds me of a podcast I was just listening to about how I was listening to the founder of Farcaster, which is a Web3 social media app. He was talking about how people have different interpretations of words and so forth. Great points. Thank you, Noam, and thank you, Jorge, for asking for Noam's insights about there. I see Marco's hands up, but Rosemary had her hands up first, so we'll pass it on to Rosemary first, and then Marco. And then I'll also share a couple of thoughts too. I have a couple of slides I can bring up about what Douglas is doing and with the Aquarius Academy. I do think it would be good to be able to do Pomelo pitches as well. If people are able to stick around after. So perhaps after hearing from Rosemary, Marco, and myself, and I'll keep it short too, then we can move on to Pomelo pitches if everybody's up for that and up to stick around for a bit longer. If anybody has any other pressing questions there for Douglas, then you can ask here as well too, or you can also ask in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat, and we can also talk about it in future meetings too. But being that the Pomelo season ends in approximately 7 or 8 days, I do think it would be great to be able to talk about the Pomelo pitches and hear from everybody as well. With that being said, I'll pass it now on to Rosemary.
Would be quick. I'm a full supporter of Aquadac, and I've been attending the last 2 meetings, and it's been awesome. And just even the progress of sharing about my progress is a progress itself. And I think why we develop a community is to have progress, and being able to experience that from a first person is a proof of concept itself of a progress. So I fully support his work, and hopefully you will as well.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. Rosemary is doing Rosemary digitally. She is rebirthing. So definitely check out her video as well that she posted. I just gave it a like, give it a like, and yeah, come join us. My Corellia is also there, and she's great, and I'm sure that you'd love to meet her as well.
Awesome. Very well said, and I totally agree. Thank you, Rosemary and Douglas. If you have anything else to add, then feel free. Lovely moment. Marco, you have some thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, no, I thought I took a pretty practical approach in the whole being connected to space thing, from atoms flying around, being able to experience it. But I'll go in and say this: in the years of studying aviation, an author wrote in one of the books, and this was dealing with frustration for regulations and things like that, and all the atrocities that go unnoticed in aviation. And essentially it was by now you know how to write and express an idea. If they can't understand it, they don't know how to read. And essentially that was discussing the concept of not being able to understand what it's like to experience the sky, to be able to take off and go in any direction that one would like. Well, here I also have minors in aerospace ops. So to say that if you can't understand living with a plane rather than a car, there's no way you're going to grasp the space aspect of it. Like we were talking with Noam's in the background about whether it's inverted or not in space, doesn't matter. And then here's the other thing. We're speaking American, not English. The English language is founded on an outdated world that had no concept of space. Everything was built and people followed there. The open space was cold, so nobody went there. But America was a vastly different way of living, and the language didn't just alter the English language, it also adopted all the other cultures that came together. Instead of fighting, we're thinking about survival. The words and all that came that way. So we talk about not being able to understand it. Language really, again, comes down to the experience, experiencing something new. If you're adapted experiencing something new, you can appreciate art that you're not normally accustomed to appreciating. The concepts, the logic behind the concepts are easier to come together. And it's something that's very individual. It's not something that you can go along with the group and get up to speed with. But I'm done. Yes.
Well said. Thank you very much, Marco. I agree. There's a lot to learn, and sometimes it can take some time thinking in different perspectives to have some really profound insights. I'll add, well, I have some notes saved up from all the inspiring discussion, so I'll share some of my thoughts here before we go into the Pomelo pitch. First off, I just wanted to give some, share some of the chats going on in the Zoom chat and in the Telegram chat. I saw Douglas shared a PDF that Patrick said he was going to read, and I think Victor also said he's downloading it too, and people are laughing and having all party signs and stuff like that, losing chats and losing spirits. Tatas wrote in the chat he loves the idea of a fractal focus on spiritual, philosophical sides of things. Keep going on, Douglas. So yeah, I agree with that very much. Well said. I love it as well. Patrick also, he's been going all through hats today. He previously had an academic hat on. He says he's in a very spiritual, fractal mood today, fractal spiritual mood today. And Rosemary also said something funny too about how it's, I don't see it right now, but it's like watching multiple movies at once, but only the best snippets. So good to see all the fun times in the chats today. And people are learning. I agree, we have a lot to learn too. We were talking about quantum physics a bit before. The universe is really big, so I'm very humbled by all this and excited to learn more, and also once again encourage people to join and support what Douglas is doing here too, and support everybody who's contributing with this. I see Noam is going with the hat. He's bringing back the hat party, and now it's kind of like a tour or something. I don't know if tour is the right word, but like a halo with that cool frisbee thing. So that's cool to see. Good times. Yeah, and so my experience in the meeting was really cool. We didn't talk as much about the spiritual stuff there, so I'm looking forward to it, but mostly it was just like pragmatic people helping each other. Rosemary said something before about like how community helps each other progress, and that reminded me of like the goals of Eden that were first outlined by Dan Larimer about helping to increase the independence and helping people in the community. So I see a lot of potential for that in what Douglas is doing here. Thanks for the heart, and yes, Victor, I'm glad you're enjoying it too. Yeah, so it's really cool. Douglas is working on his rap career with Gudasol and Rosemary Digitally, and Corelli is working on like meditation teachings and stuff like that. So really cool to see it. I'm also really excited for my rebirth goal for playing more music because I love to do that. And I think overall, like this is a really cool, it's an experiment and it's an initiative that like it kind of inverts a little bit, because rather than helping the community for a specific purpose, it's like we use the consensus games to help each other as individuals, and then there's like a supportive community that helps encourage each other to do things that each individual wants. So I think it's awesome, and I encourage everybody to join. And Really appreciate it. I really appreciate this whole discussion too. Maybe I'll listen later and probably have my mind blown a little bit by all the discussion again, because there's so much to absorb here. I also have a quick presentation that I can just share, both to introduce the next topic about Pomelo grants, if everybody can stick around. And then also I want to just show a couple of things that Douglas is working on. Douglas is also working on some other great stuff too. So if anybody wants to comment on that or have any, share any last words about the Aquadac and Aquarius deck for today. Of course, looking forward to more discussions, and encourage everybody to join on Tuesdays. But yeah, if anybody wants to share more now, then now would be a good time. Does anybody have any other thoughts they want to share about Aquadac or Aquarius, or for Douglas here?
I just want to say that I have not made a judgment about what Douglas is doing, but it's the kind of thing that can go in any direction. I have a number of friends who have experimented recently with psychedelic drugs, and my conversations with them are interesting conversations. And if this is related to that, the use of psychedelic drugs, I'm sorry, Patrick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Patrick, we can't hear you. We hear something you're saying, but I don't know what you're saying.
So that's all I wanted to say, is that I
will let finish Perry. That's very mindful what he's stating, very mindful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I wanted to say, is that I'm not making a negative judgment on it, but I think that there are many ways that people cope with not understanding the universe, and religion is one of them, and trying to push the envelope of science is another. So between those, we exist, and where exactly this falls between trying to recognize basic premises and trying to imagine ourselves in any form in the universe, exactly where this is, I don't know. Sure, but I'm open to any of the possibilities to that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for the thoughtful speech, Perry. Really appreciate hearing your insights. I'll also add to Joe just added his rebirth goal too in the Eden Fractal Telegram live chat too. He talks about rebirthing, serving others, and reinstating the old project, creating wearable paintings. So really cool to see that. And yeah, I encourage everybody else to make their rebirth goals too, and share them at the upcoming meeting. So really cool. And then also Marco talked about how he can vouch for one of the founding minds behind the venture and the blockchain-based musical efforts via CXE World, which is something I want to mention too. Douglas, he's been building with EOS and Antwerp for a long time, and he's also building a great music app too, which I'll show briefly. But in addition to Aquarius, Douglas is doing lots of cool musical stuff as well. I see Victor hands up now. Victor, would you like to share some thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Dan. I've had an opportunity to learn today, and it is good that I've been here. If I was not here, I couldn't have learned this. It's some new stuff that I've learned from Douglas. But I want to put a question to him, because he said that they are planning to have sort of office, or like in every country or continent. And a question is based on our people here in Africa, based on in Africa. Let me give an example of where I'm staying in Uganda. So in Uganda, for example, when people don't understand something that is new to them, they always term it to be controversial because they don't understand it, and shun it, and others try to abuse the people working for it, and the reception is not that good, especially when they don't understand something. So my question is, how are you preparing to make sure that you fight such kind of things that come on when you're promoting something like of a sort that people do not understand, like here in Africa?
That's an absolutely incredible question. And it really it gets to the essence of both Aquadac and how we want to expand. So if we take the contrary view, right? Let's imagine I'm Perry's worst nightmare, and I just want to get, I like, okay, I made this universe model. I want you to believe it, right? I'm gonna come into all these fights because, like other people are saying, there's a different language people don't understand, right? So I'm like, through founding this almost 7 years ago and then getting to now, I realized that the real truth is only what is determined at the individual level. So like you're saying, with in sort of a cultural sense of lacking this understanding, and I'm talking about like on a personal level, but both of these are conquered whenever it's the individual deciding that truth. So whenever we open up our school in Africa, instead of teaching our one model, we'll have teachers from Africa that are interpreting in their own way, by sharing the native teachings, the native traditions, and how that native understanding has developed, so that as you go along to these different schools, you're not just hearing that PDF that I shared. We're not just shoving that in your head every time. You're learning completely separate. You're learning genuinely what the shaman in the Amazon believe. You're learning from them. You're learning from the cultures in Africa, in Ghana, in different parts of Africa. So that's the idea, is that instead of saying here's the truth, it's saying, okay, well, what truth do you find within yourself, and how can you share that with others, right? Because that's how I see the galaxy working. Is like, it's not like we're all staring at the galactic core. We're staring at our sun, and our sun's telling us truth. We're staring at our Earth. Maybe that's a little bit too philosophical, but I hope that made sense, and thank you for the question.
Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Victor. Is there anything you want to add on to that, Victor? Then feel free to go ahead, or if not, I see Patrick has hands up, and Patrick has a nice frame for us.
I just want to say thank you, Mpalani Victor, former EOS Nation ambassador like me since 2018. And then we move on, myself, with EOS Bees, Jesse Jaffe, that I will interview in 10 minutes, so I will go. And I am very happy that we have addressed the spirituality here into this hidden fractal, because that's so serious sometimes. We have maybe to go back, as I said, to our heart, soul, and mind. And I am happy to have this discussion. It's nothing about drugs and psychedelic. You have not to be psychedelic and drugged to speak about those things. If you have people like Douglas speaking about that, it's because he's a beautiful man with a good heart, soul, and mind. People like that can speak about that because they know what does it mean. And they are not evil at all. And that's what I love. And you have the mission here. Hidden Fractal is not just focused on one thing, that's a full spectrum of values at societal, economical, and technological level. So, and maybe the spiritual level. So thank you for that. I say that with all my respect. I am doing some jokes here with hats and some fun, but I am really thinking that's all what it is about to live into this world currently. You have to be better and better collaborative, and also find some peace into yourself. You have the right to be upset or disagree with someone, but at the end, you have to come back to your inner voice and doing the things right. So I let you here. I will go to my next meeting, interviewing Jesse Jaffe. I will give him good vibes from here, from Hidden Fractal. And I am okay to come on the next week. So see you soon. That was a nice one.
Sounds great. Agreed. Very well said, Patrick, and thank you. And since you got to go soon, I can also, if we have time for the Pomelo grants, I can also share a little bit about MindWeb, or unless you're able to stick around, maybe give a quick share about it once we move on to there. I see Perry has his hands up though. Perry would like to share it, and then perhaps after Perry goes, then we can wrap up the the spiritual Aquarius discussion for the moment and move on to Pomelo, if that's all right with everybody.
Yeah, just really quickly, I just wanted to clarify that I was not making any kind of negative connotation to the use of psychedelic drugs or its association to this. That was a genuine comment, and so I wasn't trying to make any negative with that. It seemed like Patrick took it negatively, but that's not my intention.
Cool, sounds good. Thank you for the clarification, Barry. And yeah,
I also wanted to clarify that I didn't hear anything negative in Perry's original comment when I commented that I think that sometimes people have different meanings for the words, and that can be the explanation there. There's no reason to assume negativity when people don't understand because of a language problem, even if it is English that both of them are speaking.
And I would like to clarify that when I made the speaking between two balls of God, that was not with negative connotations either.
I didn't think it was.
Good to know.
That's good to precise. We never know. We never know. And I am not the
back.
only one.
He's back.
Yes. And
this is not only me thinking about that, by the way.
Yep. There's a lot of lessons here. Giving each other the benefit of the doubt is always a good thing to do, and understanding, seeking to understand is always helpful. And then, there's something I was going to say that was exciting too, but I forgot about it. Anyway, great talk so far. I was going to say psychedelics too. Psychedelics, there's a lot of really fascinating research about potential benefits of psychedelics too. So people should be careful, of course, with different kinds of chemicals and substances, but there's also a lot of potentially profound benefits too. So I wouldn't think anybody mentioning something about psychedelics to be something bad, because in many cases they can be quite healthy when done in the right way. There's lots of great research like MAPS Association and so forth who are researching that. Anyway, cool. I suppose now I'll share a little presentation just to share some context visually for what Doug is working on, and then also lead us into the Pomelo presentations, if that's good with everybody. If anybody has any thoughts, then I suppose feel free to jump in. But we've already been going for an hour and 5 minutes for this discussion, and I suppose everybody has things to do, but it'd be great to get to some Pomelo pitches. So I'll just share a presentation for, I'll be quick, I'll be at 2 minutes or so, and I'll just share a little bit about what Doug is working on with Aquarius Academy. So we can check out Aquarius.academy to learn more about a lot of the different teachings and guidance and so forth that Douglas is working on, I think for like 5 or 6 years now, or maybe even longer. You can also check out Douglas on Twitter as well at Gudasol _ and you can see what he's working on with lots of different things. You can also check out his rap music too. I checked out his YouTube channel. You can see it there pinned, and check out a lot of stuff he's doing as well as with NFTs too. So big shout out and thanks to Douglas. Great to have awesome builders. Also his app CXC World that he's been building for a while, where you can listen to music on the, I think, Wax blockchain. I did an interview with Gabriel about this, and might do more with Patrick at some point, but you can go and listen to people's music from all around the world and listen to it. It's a really cool app that uses the power of Antelope and EOS. So it's kind of related to this. And then also you can see in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat, Douglas shared some messages inviting everybody to join at the Eden Fractal family. So once again, thanks, and people can check out the links in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat to learn more. He also posted the Notion site where you can learn more about Aquadac and learn, there's toggles here so you can open them up and see how it all works. And that's where you can also find the rebirth thing that you can copy and paste, the template basically, as well as links. And I mentioned the podcast before that he did with Gabriel. That's really interesting. These are all going to be links in the description, I suppose, if I could do that. And you can check out the YouTube channel to learn more from Douglas as well. Lastly, those events are happening every Tuesday at 20 UTC, as Douglas has said, and I encourage everybody to join and share something that you want to improve at and rebirth at, and also support pioneers like Douglas who are helping people cooperate with fractal consensus games in new and innovative ways. Really excited about it. So thanks everybody so much for the really insightful discussion, really fascinating. And then moving on to the next topic, if there's no further comments on that, we can talk about Eden Fractal Pomelo pitch session. We've been here for a while, so if anybody has to go, of course, that's all right. We can always repropose this topic here, but being that there's only 7 or 8 days, I would love to hear the Pomelo pitches from everybody here. And also if anybody has a different project that they're working on, but they haven't had a Pomelo pitch, then it'd be cool to hear as well. could also potentially repropose this next week if anybody has to go soon, or perhaps people like Patrick, if anybody has to go soon, then perhaps we can prioritize them so they can go first. But basically, the way I think we can make this work best is each community member can give 2 minutes to share their Pomelo grant about the community. As moderator, I can just keep time and I'll jump in if anybody is going on for too long. I'll also see if I can put up a timer as well to make it easier, and we can improve this process in the future. And yeah, I think this can be a great way to help each other learn about each other's work pretty quickly and support the amazing public goods creators in our community. There's many amazing people doing amazing work for really helpful work to create public goods for everybody in the world and the EOS community. So it'd be cool to do that. And then I think we also have a unique opportunity with Eden Fractal, with these agendas, video meetings. We can do Pomelo pitch sessions in a really, really exciting way, like because these meetings foster collaboration, networking, and video creation in ways that are very different from the current Pomelo pitch sessions. And I think it's a cool way to promote each other. And then, yeah, feel free to share your screen if you want to show it. And also, yeah, I'm really excited with this as kind of a test pilot too, because I think we could do this every season perhaps. But we'll see how it goes. Pomelo season, if people aren't familiar, people can go to pomelo.io. There's also some great videos. People can learn intro and you can learn how it works if you're not familiar, but I think everybody is here. There's 7 days and 17 hours left and almost $200,000 worth of EOS that is in the matching pool. You could scroll down to find grants here and sort it. And one of the things that I was inspired to make this pitch was Jorge saying, well, he shared a great pitch promoting the Spanish Fractal in the Telegram group. So big shout out to Jorge and the Spanish Fractal. He also talked about how he's surprised by how underappreciated grants from this community are on Pomelo. And so I wrote, that's a good point. Let's do something about that. And let's work together to help community members get more appreciation. So I started up a Eden Fractal Pomelo collection where I started to put together all the different grants I could see. I did this late last night, so I might have missed several people. Feel free to let me know if there's any ones that I missed, but just added some of the Pomelo grants from people who are doing great work in the community and have helped out a lot and also helped me cooperate with consensus games and so forth. So there's that, and that's an easy way to be able to support people in the group, or at least be able to see lots of people in the group. I think it's a good promotional tool too. People can learn more about collections in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat where I shared the link. So that's that. Basically, each person get 2 minutes, and if you want to raise your hands, I think it might be best if anybody has to go soon to prioritize them first. Like I know Patrick said that he had to go, so if you'd like to share a little pitch about your MindWeb grant, Patrick, you've been doing great work. Or if anybody has to head out soon, then we can prioritize that. But otherwise, I suppose we can just go in order of hands raised. I have a couple Pomelo pitches too that I'll promote at some point. But first, I'll pass it on to, well, is there anybody who wants to go first? Patrick said give for Albedo as well. And there was also some nice comments. Oh, thanks for your patience and questions, everyone. Thanks for the visuals, Dan. That was from Douglas. You're very welcome, and thank you, everyone. And yeah, Douglas said very welcome, very well focused with the pitch. So great stuff. Would anybody like to go first and share their Pomelo pitch first? Pomelo grant. I'll nominate Patrick because Patrick said he had to go for the interview with Jesse. If you have time and you could say a little bit about the MindWeb grant, then that would be cool.
Yeah, I am a little bit stressed because I received an invitation of Jesse to join the recording, but I will be very brief. I have 5 deliverables for this season 5 on Pomelo. The first deliverable is to do the cockpit that I do for the swarms and to have the return on the tweets. I have made this cockpit for Jesse for the EOS bees, and I am continuing to improve this cockpit for the bees first, and then I will create other cockpits. One is for Eden Fractal, to have some metrics about Eden Fractal by reading the smart contract table and to represent that into a cockpit. I will do a cockpit also for Pomelo. I have access to the table of smart contract table of Pomelo. So I will create also a cockpit for Pomelo, like this one here for the bees that you are showcasing here. I want to do cockpit dashboards. That's very important. And by reading the blockchain. And I mentioned it the last time, the bees are on Notion. Every time there is a new line into their table, I am taking those information and I am representing that into the cockpit. So that will be more dynamic. So that's the first deliverable. Second deliverable, if you scroll down, yeah, I am doing a Pomelo collections because since Pomelo Season 4, there are collections where every Pomelo grant owner can choose the grants that they love, and they create a collection. And into this collection mind map that you see here, there are already some collection creators that are mapped out into this mind map. Also on the bottom, the project grant owner, and a video with Daniel Keys where it is explained about Pomelo and what are the collection on Medium. There is an article. So this Pomelo collection mind map, I am continuing to enrich this season by the links that I am receiving to the mind map. So it's not me that is choosing who has to be into this mind map. That's the people themselves. They are sending me their links, like Shufan Chen of NFTs and other people that are sending me links. And you can go to the third one.
Sounds good, Patrick. You have 1 minute left, by the way.
Yeah. So that is a MindWeb transaction. The DeFi box checker service is to see if someone is adding liquidity to DeFi box. And I have made that first with the bees, but that could be helpful for everyone that want to see that. The MindWeb portal, I have already speak a lot about that I am curating a lot of mind map that I have made, and to have them into a MindWeb portal that will be then accessible on mindweb.io. And I am creating a Telegram bot for the brainstorming session activities that we have finished on February 28th. I am creating a Telegram bot to have a better experience into the brainstorming activities. And that's in a nutshell what I have made, and I am finished. That's the beautiful part. I have to go. Thank you. Bye.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Patrick, for all the great work. Enjoy the interview, Jesse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Vlad also said, gotta go. See you next week. Douglas, feel free to reach out in regards to the tools. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Vlad. Oh, Vlad left already, but sounds good. Looking forward to more integrations of those tools. Would anybody like to go next, sharing their Pomelo pitch? I know here at least we have Jorge's been sharing the Spanish-speaking Fractal Pomelo pitch. Rosemary just came out with the new Pomelo pitch or Pomelo grant for community stories, and I think she has another one in progress. Perry, I don't know if you have a D News one this season. Tadas has Albedo. Marco has Web3, or rather 3 briefs in EOS Galaxy. Evgeny has the EOS Russia, like EOS Russia. And then I have a couple with Eden Creators, Eden Town Hall, and the Creator Talk as well. So would anybody like to go next?
Dan, this season I do not have a D News Pomelo pitch. I have some clients that have been waiting patiently for some of my work, so I had to kind of make some decisions about where to put my time. Believe it or not, I decided I'm going to be putting my time here in these meetings and not doing a Pomelo pitch. But I'll be back next season, and thank you for the opportunity.
Sounds great. Thank you, Perry. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us here and sharing all your great thoughts. Very much appreciated, and looking forward to your next season with D News and hoping to support what you're doing there. Yeah, I'll hope that the client work goes well as well.
I want to take off soon, but I think I got everybody, at least 1 year for now, that's on your collection. I thought I talked enough about w3briefs.com. I think everybody knows the thing that I was sharing with timelines. If you just want to see, again, it's about fast information. I know the history is hard to look at, but you can search and still grab links from years back. But if you're trying to get anybody new or just want a quick overview of EOS, just check out the timeline. That's what it's meant for. And I'll be looking back on the collection, see if I haven't got everybody that attends these meetings. Yeah, scroll down a little more. That's the outline of it right here. Anyone who's new, they'll get the idea. Block 1's in there, the big raise, how people were excited, and what EOS meant to blockchain back then when it first came out. No other, I believe, I'm pretty sure of this, no other funding startup inside or outside of blockchain got the attention of EOS to with $4 billion. it was a pretty big deal. It shed light to the space, the whole space. The upside down ice cream, I don't know, maybe emotionally represents how the community started to feel about Block 1. And then the little lighted glowing butterflies is kind of like the ENF coming into it. The ENF quickly got us to independence. And then that little space invasion is either us, EOS, or Ethereum flying in from the UVM. So, gets people just in the discussion if they're new. And there's links on all of them. I still got to colorize some of the links because they didn't transition easy. But anything that you see, if you scroll over, you get a little fingerprint, finger on there, and that'll be a link. And then, like this, again, making things quick. I'll pass it off. I'm going to take off. I'll be listening a little bit.
Cool. Sounds great. Thank you very much, Marco, for sharing your pitch and all the great work. You can learn more at pomelo.io/EOS Galaxy. Patrick's is at /mindweb, and you can read a lot more about the project here. Also, I put together some articles from the meeting 39, I think, from meeting 39, where you can hear Marco introduce us for the first time, and you can also find links to that on both the Pomelo pitch and in the Eden Fractal article as well. And perhaps I'll share these in the Telegram chat afterwards, so everybody can check it out. I saw Jorge said he had to go. He said, bye, guys. I think I've already donated to everyone except for Rosemary, whose grant he didn't know, but he said, please support this Match Week in Fractal. He said he'll go next week. Sounds good, Jorge. If you do want to, I see you're still here. If you do want to share a quick pitch before we have to go, then that would be great to hear from you and great to see. But if you got to go now, then of course next week works as well. Douglas also wrote, remember to share links here or in Telegram, and he will be donating to all also. Thank you very much, Douglas, for supporting the community. And I encourage everybody to share it in Telegram. I mean, you can share it here, but in Telegram, it will be easier for everybody to follow later. And it's also more visual because you have nice embeds there where you can see it and so forth. Okay, cool. I guess Jorge had to go. So, I think it is a good idea to do this again next week. I'm pretty sure that we will have time, and for anybody who went already, we could, if we have time, we could even go again too. But being that we're still here, we got a thumbs up from Marco, and there's still several more people with Pomelo pitches. We have Evgeny, Das, Rosemary, and myself, who I know have Pomelo pitches who haven't gone yet. So would anybody like to go next? I suppose if nobody's going to volunteer, then I might nominate Rosemary because she came out with a really exciting new podcast called Community Stories, and I'd love for her to show it and help promote it. It's our first time making a Pomelo pitch, as I think everybody here knows.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Does everyone here know how quadratic voting works? Because a big part of what's going on here, just as a background, is that, let's say I have $5 and I vote for myself, or if I give 4 of those $5 to 4 of you and you vote for me, and you give me $4 and I vote for you, we end up getting much more much more of the public pool matching grant than if we each vote for each other. And I think it's important to understand that what Dan and what the whole community is doing here is trying to encourage all of us to vote for each other. So that's what I had to say, and I'll
There's
enough time.
I'm involved with EOS Respect, which is a private thing, and I pretty sure there's a link for how the quadratic works for Pomelo, but you're definitely not supposed to buy votes. But here there's a value in it, and there's a value that eventually could be used for, say, Pomelo's KYC. And if you're not here, you're involved in Pomelo, you're not adding to that. So there is value in supporting the community members. So there's a long story, and the checks and balances are there. If people are swapping, if people are giving each other money to vote on Pomelo. Those guys themselves are checking that out, as well as EOS Respect and the EOS account. So there's active efforts by more than one group to inhibit.
Are we violating anything by having these discussions now? These
Even if somehow somebody said that we were, I just gave you the answer to the KYC process. We are providing.
Okay.
And we're not mandatory. We're not saying you need to vote to join.
Yeah, and we don't. We don't have to vote. Are the votes registered? And can you see who voted for what?
Yes. So all the votes go on the EOS blockchain, so you can see who voted for it, and it also is nicely displayed in the Pomelo interface as well. Yeah, I suppose for people who are new, like Noam, I suppose many people who are watching this, it might have been a good idea to provide a little bit more introduction to Pomelo. So I apologize in all the excitement. I forgot to mention that. But
I would like to say that when the public, when the vote is public, it does have, there are nice effects of it, but it does create this situation where you can buy votes. I've seen quadratic voting where the vote was hidden or anonymous. And in those cases, you have to worry a lot less about buying votes. And still, if we know each other and we respect each other, we will vote even if you can't see whether I did it or not. So that's the context in which I made my comment. I did not realize that the votes were public and that vote buying was an issue.
And remember, there's the pitch sessions. This is a little bit like the pitch sessions that already exist.
It's a bit like what?
It's a bit like pitch sessions that already exist. So the Pomelo team hosts pitch sessions like 3 or 4 times every season. And then there's also other pitch sessions that are held by the Korean community and Chinese community, and sometimes other communities like the Telos community hold pitch sessions as well, which is a similar idea. Basically, it's very much encouraged to promote each other's grants and to spread the word, because that's one of the huge benefits. In addition to raising funding, it's a great way to educate the community and help us learn what we're doing and support each other and so forth. So the Pomelo team hosts pitch sessions much like this, but just not on video. They do it on Twitter Spaces multiple times every season, and they encourage everybody to join. I've done it many times before. And yeah, you bring up good points. Like then quadratic voting is vulnerable to vote buying, so to speak, when like people pay each other for votes. And so that's not allowed in the rules of Pomelo. They have a lot of great articles. I'll share my screen briefly, and I can share some more links later, but just to make up for it, because I didn't really share much of an introduction. But if you go to learn how it works here, there's some great introductions here, and they have both a wiki where you can learn more and you can learn about the rules. There's specific rules, and there's a team at Pomelo that looks very deeply on the blockchain and often disqualifies people if they sense that there's some sort of shenanigans going on, or somebody's trying to game the system by paying their friends to do something like that. It needs to be something that it's voluntary, like Marco was saying. Like people are welcome to support each other and promote each other's grants, but it's not okay to say, okay, I'll vote for you if you vote for me. That's against the rules. And then the Pomelo team has quite a comprehensive system to disqualify those kinds of things that happen. So you can check out in detail on GitHub here, which you can find from the Pomelo.io. And then they also have a great blog Medium site too, where you can see lots of articles. They've been doing this for 5 seasons now, so they're very much looking at these. Actually, in the past seasons, they disqualified.
Links in the live chat.
Yes. Yep. I'll link those in the live chat.
The Telegram live chat. I'd love to look at it. Not this minute. I want to listen to people. Sounds great. Yeah, I'll link all these here. There's a bunch of blog articles I'll show, and there's also some great videos on the EOS Nation YouTube channel as well, where you can learn more about magic of quadratic funding and how all this works. If you type in Pomelo EOS Nation, then you can also find a good some good playlists, and that's where you can also find the most all of the a bunch of interviews, and then also a bunch of playlists where you can learn. You can hear the Pomelo pitch sessions, see Pomelo explainer shorts, Pomelo testimonials, and so forth. So I'll share all these links in the chat to make it all accessible for you, Noam. And thank you for asking the questions. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. So yeah, we've been going. Also, Jay's said it's a concern that Pomelo grants have diminished over time. So Pomelo grants in the first season, they were almost $1 million, but they said they wanted to do it to kind of bootstrap the system. And then in the past season, they were more like $350,000, and now the pool is $170,000. So it has decreased over time. I wouldn't say it's concerning, but it just basically right now the donor to the matching pool is the EOS Network Foundation, and it's their choice to do it however much they want. There's still quite a lot of funding, which is nice, and still a great opportunity to promote each other's work. And then in the future season, then it'd be great to also have more funding. But for now, it's still enough that everybody can get some nice funding to do some cool projects with, and still foster cool meetings like this. So I'm not concerned about it. But thanks for the question, Jayza. And yeah, we have been going for 3 hours now, so I suppose we should wrap it up soon. But we still have a few people who haven't presented their Pomelo pitch. So if anybody would like to go, I started nominating Rosemary before because she started the Community Stories podcast. Thank you so much, Rosemary, for inviting me on the podcast and having me as a first guest. If you'd like to share if Evgeny or Josh want to go first, then that's cool too. But yeah, it wraps Rosemary because she has a new project that many people are not aware of yet. If you'd like to share a Pomelo pitch or share your grant and introduce what you're working on, Rosemary, then that would be cool. By the way, you're muted right now, Rosemary. Still can't hear you. You're not muted, but I want to hear you. And then perhaps if Evgeny wants to go afterwards, because I think a lot of people don't know Evgeny's grant with like EOS Russia too, and then maybe to Dawson and myself after that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Hi everyone. This is my Pomelo pitch. So for community stories, now it's being approved since this morning, I think. So in short, it's about communities. It's a podcast, and the aim is to change the perception of Web3 possibilities and generally bring more people in who may not even be familiar with Web3. And the show, this is the logo of the show. In short, I'm a social media manager, and I do have a deep experience with video editing, strategy, creating content, and just being an artist. And I do find the lack of opportunity of connecting people together with the aim of innovation, specifically within Web3, because it is sort of new to me as well. I've just been around for a month and a half, but see that huge opportunity to use all of that experience into this space. So I was really inspired to create community stories just to fulfill that gap and bring more people together. And then the aim here is to interview people who are sharing their personal experiences and also their views on communities. How can they benefit and make that more interesting and appealing for new joiners even, and kind of close the loop and be closer together and collaborate. So with that, I do have a show, a first episode that is now ready, and that is featuring Eden Fractal's host, Dan, that's on this meeting, as well as some other people like Douglas, who's also on this meeting, and Eric. And the way to go here and what people can get out from that is a few benefits. This is not every benefit, but it's a big sum of them, which is one, to provide an open discussion on communities, to encourage collaboration within Web3, educational content to fill community management gaps, and spread out concept of decentralization and playing games as a fun and interactive way. And in general, just bring more people together. So that could benefit EOS community, Web3 supporters, including business owners and entrepreneurs, and people involved in communities in general and personal development. So it could literally be anyone. It's a free source. So feel free to check out the link at the end of the Pomelo pitch, or I have it open here. It's also collated as a playlist in Eden Creators YouTube channel. And there's the link. I'll as well put it in the chat. But generally, if you search for Eden Creators or just the title of the name, that should come up. And I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosemary. Thank you for sharing that. I see Marco clapped his hands too. I also didn't mention before, but if people have questions or comments for Pomelo grant owners, then that would be cool too. It'd be great to hear if anybody has any feedback for Rosemary. We got a clap from Douglas too. I'll also say,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. So I'll also say a couple things. One, I'm really excited for the upcoming interviews with Douglas and also Eric too. I think it's awesome how this show kind of emerged from our meetings here a bit. I know that this is how we met like 6 or 7 weeks ago when you first started joining these meetings. And it's been awesome collaborating with you. It's been a huge pleasure being on the show. And then also it's great that that you're collaborating with Eric too, meeting him through here. And I'm really excited for those interviews with Douglas and Eric and everybody else who interview. I think it's a fantastic show with community stories. So yeah, I encourage everybody to listen to it. And I'm very honored to be your first guest. And I encourage everybody to support Rosemary's grant on Pomelo as well as everybody else's grant. Yeah, so thanks so much, Rosemary, for everything. I could say more, and I actually wrote out a message that I'll share later after I saw you share it. You shared some very inspiring words and so forth in the Telegram chat, so I'll respond with more detail later. But just want to say, yeah, I think I've said thank you a few times now, but I really appreciate it and I love the show, so thank you. Cool. Does anybody have any other comments for either Rosemary or anybody else that's gone so far? And if not, perhaps if maybe Evgeny or Tadas would like to go next.
Hello, sorry, I missed a lot. Now we talk about our Pomelo grants and what we are doing and why we collect funds.
Yes, so basically, well, first off, I'll just add a couple things in the chat. I saw Perry said, Rosemary, please drop the video link to the YouTube. She dropped the Pomelo, you can find there. And she said, thank you all, you're amazing, glad to be here. And Joe's also looking for that too. And I encourage you, Rosemary, if you want to share that in the Telegram live chat as well, so people can see it there after the show. And that could be a helpful way to promote it beyond just the people who are currently in the Zoom chat as well. And yeah, Evgeny, so I made a topic proposal that's basically a Pomelo pitch session at Eden Fractal meetings where each person can share their Pomelo grants and share what they're working on for approximately 2 minutes. If you want to go a bit longer, then that's okay too, because well, we're all here and we have a smaller group. But yeah, if you could do a pretty short overview of your work in your Pomelo grant and perhaps why you think it's a good idea for people to support it, and explain it for a couple minutes, then that would be appreciated. I know you're doing great work for the Russian community and you have a grant.
Okay, I try to be short. My Pomelo grant is about building Russian speaking community about EOS. I started this work 3 years ago. I made a lot translation different articles and for example, thank you for sharing screen. Yes, this is my grant. I work a lot for a long time. I made a lot of news, translate article, translate some Twitter posts, and I also write some article by myself about EOS, about future EOS. I was sometimes I was wrong when I expect some rising of price of EOS. So finally it became to several social media accounts where I try to spread information about EOS. Yes, this links for my social medias. But now when in Russian Instagram and Facebook was restricted and Twitter too is denied from Russian, but I can use Twitter with VPN, but Facebook and Instagram still doesn't still not working. Sorry for my English, and now I'm continue to develop our community. I'm try to go to a lot of Russian crypto community, not about EOS, but I always spread information about EOS. I am take a part in different meetups. For example, on this week, I gave a short interview about EOS for some project. They still didn't post it, so I don't know what we get in the end. But people in Russian-speaking community know that I'm from EOS community, and always I think every week I get some direct message to my Telegram with people who invite me to some meetings, to some other chats, to tell about EOS for them. So my work is spread information about EOS, translate a lot of information about EOS, and attract developers to EOS, because past 2 months I started to work with a lot of different developers and ask them to work with EOS and build something. This is my YouTube channel. This not a lot of videos, but in the nearest future, I want to collect funds for develop my YouTube channel and building a Russian site about EOS too. Now I'm working on the site. I hope it will be in the nearest future. It will go live, and I think it will help to EOS community too. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for all the great work and sharing your grant with us. There's also other ones too. If I had more time to prepare, I would open up these other ones, because I know that you have another YouTube channel with more videos, although right now I'm not signed in, so I'm getting a lot of cookie updates or whatever, but there's a lot here. There's also the Bywire channel and stuff, so everybody can check that out. I just shared that in the Eden Fractal live chat for Telegram as well, so encourage everybody to check it out and support the work that you're doing. Really important work. Russia, as you wrote there, I think there's hundreds of millions of people in 19 countries around the world, so that's super super helpful, all the things you're doing to connect with developers and promote people on Telegram and create videos and stuff like that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Evgeny. Cool. You're welcome. Yeah, I see also, so I posted Evgeny's in the chat, where you can find the I Like Rusi or I Like EOS Rusi grant, and Rosemary also posted it in the Telegram live chat as well, although it didn't embed, so I don't know if you want to embed so people can see the picture there. Not a big deal either way, but everybody can find Rosemary's grants there. I'll also share towards the end of the meeting. I meant to share Patrick's and everybody else went before, Marco's and everybody, so I'll share those in a little bit. I suppose that I think that's everybody who presented their Pomelo pitch, if I'm not mistaken. So except for me. So I can go next and share my Pomelo pitch for a couple minutes, and then we could perhaps wrap it up, because we've been here for over 3 hours. See Marco's with the plane emoji. Before I go, is there anybody else that wants to mention anything about any of their projects, even if it's not a Pomelo pitch right now? If you want to just take a minute or a couple minutes to share what you're working on or anything you want to share with the group, then that would be cool. Or if not, then I'll go into my presentation. Okay, I'll go into my presentation then. I'll also briefly promote both the DOSes and I don't know if I can find this one in time, but I want to promote both the DOSes and Jorge's. Oh, actually I can, because I have the handy Pomelo collection. So that actually makes it a lot easier to find things. So first off, here's DOSes. He said he had to go, but he'll share it. He'll try to share it. He said he'll try to check out all the grants and see you next week. So we featured Tadas's work with Albedo and Firmament quite a lot. He's doing amazing work that's super helpful for communities who cooperating. We talked about that a lot, but just wanted to give a shout out to Das, who had to go early, but he's doing really, really cool work. So wanted to share that. While we're here, I'll also go to the Eden Fractal collection at pomelo.io/collection/Eden Fractal. And that way I could find, oh, I guess I typed it wrong, it's collections, not collection. So here you can find here, and of course, let me know if there's anybody else want to add. I added Jesse too with the bees. Him and Nicola join a lot of meetings too. Although they've been busy lately, but they've been joining town halls, and they both contribute greatly to Eden Fractal, as well as Matthias, who's working with Vlad a lot on building tools for fractal cooperation. Here is Jorge's grant, bringing 1,000 users to EOS, and actually 500 million Spanish speakers worldwide, where he's been sharing this in the Telegram groups and encourage everybody to join the Spanish speaking Fractal. Everyone can give more detailed presentations if they missed it now. Also Lenny with the recaps, he's been doing great recaps every week for Eden Fractal and a bunch of other organizations to help people cooperate. And also the EOS Turkey YouTube channel. We've had a few members from EOS Turkey join. They have quite a popular YouTube channel sharing benefits of EOS with Turkey, and actually Turkey's quite a popular country for EOS, so that's great to see, and they're doing great work. That's Reset and UCell, or rather UCell, and Pascal has one for solving the knowledge gap at ECB. He's also doing a lot of great stuff with the algorithm too. So big shout out to Pascal. Also, Vlad, he didn't resubmit CTF or consortium this season. He's working mostly on projects with Matthias right now, but when he joins the season back again, highly recommend everybody to support CTF. And I also have 2 other pitches that I just submitted last night about Creator Talk in Eden Town Hall. And then also I think Rosemary is working on another one too. So if you wanted to add anything about that, Rosemary, or save it for next week, I think you're working on one with Rosemary digitally as well. If you want to jump in and share any thoughts about that, then feel free, or if anybody else does as well, then that's welcome. And I see Rosemary's on the move.
I'll do that next week.
Okay.
When it's ready, but it's just providing more about my marketing services for communities in Web3.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Well, I think that'll go very well with the community stories grant, and help share more ways that you can create public goods and help the community and help all communities. So looking forward to that very much. And thank you for sharing and making 2 Pomelo pitches. 2 Pomelo pitches in the first season is really cool. Yes, I mentioned Jorge's and Lenny's. Perhaps they can all show these in more detail next week. You can check out the recaps every week that Lenny shares in many different Telegram channels to learn about updates about Eden Fractal, and Pascal's work with the School of Consensus in blockchain. He's doing great work in the French community, and he's also working on Thiago Reed too, which is really cool. So love to help promote this more. As Jorge was saying, a lot of contributions haven't, or a lot of grants haven't received a huge amount of contributions yet. So I don't know if Pascal's really aiming to promote this very much right now. Haven't heard him share it, but great to promote everybody who's doing awesome work in the community. And I suppose I'll share a bit about my grants too. I'll keep it quick too. So I have the Eden Creators Pomelo grant back for the 3rd season now, and I appreciate everybody donating so far, and would appreciate more support as well. I think it'd be super helpful. Basically, Eden Creators working to help people cooperate with consensus games. I volunteer well over full time, like many hours, pretty much every day. Well, every day, like pretty much a full day every day, I mean to say, on helping communities cooperate with Eden Fractal and Eden Creators, making great content, making videos and articles and creating content and so forth. So I put this up. It's pretty much the same one that I had last year, but it kind of provides an overview of some of the articles and some of the things I do with lots of different Fractal organizations in Eden. And you can learn more here, in addition to hosting events like this one and the Eden Town Hall, and working overall to grow communities. So that's at Eden or Pomelo.io/grant/Eden creators. There's also a video of the Fractal apple that I'm planning to bring back this season. I'm thinking of doing an Irish themed one for St. Patty's Day and singing some Irish songs, but we had a really fun time promoting some grants. I gave out a bunch of EOS, 500 EOS, plan to give out more this season and support all the great grant creators in the community and in Eden Fractal and EOS community wider too. And there's a bit of explanation about how these funds, one, I can use to compensate my time and then do this more sustainably, and then two, be able to hire help for video production and editing and content creation and all sorts of different things like that, that I think that there's huge potential for both this grant and everybody's grant here to create tremendous benefits for everybody basically by funding these, because what we're doing here at Eden, I put a message, but it's like incredibly helpful, and there's a huge potential to create positive benefits with more funded, but we are quite drastically underfunded. So far, the only funding has come from myself and Patrick for the most part, and it's a total of like less than 20,000 EOS. So much appreciated, but it'd be great to get more funding to be able to create more benefits. I also put together the Pomelo pitch for Town Hall, Eden Town Hall at pomelo.io/grant/town hall. This is an innovative community forum and collaborative show that helps people collaborate. I've been hosting these also for over 40 weeks since mid-2022, and you can learn about them here. Everybody's welcome to join, and you can also watch the videos. And I'm aiming to make this a helpful platform. I mean, it is a helpful platform. There's been so many great community members who have joined to promote their work, and we have great conversations. Everybody is invited to join on Sundays at 16 UTC. On Zoom, there's more details at edentownhall.com, and you can explore edentownhall.com/episodes to see a bunch of different great episodes like we had with Haifa and Fractal Fiction and Eden Delegates and the Art Fractal with Eric. And then I also wrote more about how funding is super helpful and how I've been a little bit behind on these shows because I'm just so busy with all this other stuff. So I'm several weeks behind, but we've been doing great episodes and haven't had the chance to promote it on social media. But once we receive more funding, then we can create so much more benefit for everyone. You can check out edentownhall.com/episodes and then check out some show notes. They're not as comprehensive as the Eden Fractal show notes, but we have some nice show notes and videos and great meetings here. So you can check out that. I've probably been going for 2 minutes, so I'll wrap it up momentarily. I know everybody's probably tired of sitting there, so thank you for your patience and watching and listening to my promo pitches as well as everybody else's. And here is Creator Talk, which is a podcast that I released about 3 months ago during the last Pomelo season. I did the first episode with Dadas. We talked about Eden plus Fractal. We can visit it at creatortalk.show, where I'm going to be speaking with many more amazing creators, talking with developers and musicians and entrepreneurs and artists and builders and inventors and so forth, and sharing insights about collaboration, creativity, and so forth. So you can watch the full episode with Das at creatortalk.com. And then you can also, or rather creatortalk.show, and then you can see many links. I put a lot of work into making a really high production value for this. So if you haven't checked out the episode yet, then I definitely recommend checking out. You can also see some intros here as well as the last season update. Haven't released any further episodes yet, but speaking with lots of people about joining and doing future interviews. So if people are interested in having appearing on either Eden Town Halls or on Creator Talk, then please feel free to reach out. Happy to use these platforms as ways to promote all the great people doing awesome work in the community. And you can check it out at creatortalk.show. This is the Dadas article where you can see pretty detailed show notes and some art that I think is quite nice. You can click on each of these to see a note for myself and more about Dadas and timestamps and so forth. You can scroll through it here. So that is that. And I suppose I can wrap it up there and just say, once again, in addition to my grants, I really appreciate everybody supporting my grants, but also want to just put some more focus on the entire community, because there's amazing community members doing fantastic work, and it takes a village, so to speak. Like, we're all doing things that all help each other in many ways. So I encourage everybody to check out pomelo.io/collections/Eden Fractal and support everybody. I see Rosemary just received some more donations while we were talking, so that's great to see. And I imagine there's been more from others as well. So yeah, anyway, that's that. Thank you everybody so much for everything. Really, this has been a fascinating and really exciting meeting. Thank you, Douglas, for making the Aquadac and sharing the great presentation and great discussions about Aquarius. You know, I've been speaking for a while now. So does anybody else want to talk now? I see, Douglas, you said something, but you're muted, by the way. And if nobody else wants to talk, then we can wrap it up too. I was just joking.
I was just saying thank you. And yeah, I still didn't get everybody's link. So I mean, I guess I can just go through and find more. But Yeah, it'd be nice. It's easy to kind of recognize people's names on the site if they're from the Eden Fractal. But yeah, it's been fun, and I hope to see more people. I feel like we had an advantage, like, to pitch the Aquadac because people were sticking around to do the Pomelo pitches. So I didn't mean to capitalize on that, but that was a nice thing. And thank you to everybody's patience, because I know it took a while to field all the questions, and I never really got to kind of wrap up with that. But just to wrap up from the Aquadac presentation, although yes, I do hold my beliefs about the universe, I also, I know that they're crazy, so I don't like talk about them a lot unless asked, and then I'm happy to talk very fervently about them. But the Aquadac experience is what it says on the box, which is, collective self-realization. It is about being yourself, and I love to see people discovering themselves and being it to the fullest. So I look forward to that growing. That's all I got to say. Thank you all. Thank you, Rosemary, Joe, and Perry. I love your questions. Yeah, yay psychedelics. Woo! Okay, that's all I got.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Douglas, and thanks for the fun time as well as all the insights too. Looking forward to exploring all these things more. And Rosemary, yeah, she just shared in the Zoom chat too. Thank you for that. You can find most/all grants in there. There's also some more. The two that I showed, Eden Town Hall and Eden and Creator Talk, I just submitted those yesterday, so they haven't been submitted yet. As well as Rosemary's other one with Rosemary Digital, and I don't know if there's other ones too. So I'd recommend people check back at that in the coming days as the Pomelo team sorts these out and goes to approve the final ones that were submitted towards the last minute. And yeah, you can find all of the links there, or most of them. So that's one way. I just posted it in the Eden Fractal Telegram live chat too, so you can click that to find the links easily. Thank you, Douglas. Would anybody else like to add any more words? Share anything else before we wrap it up?
No.
All right. Sounds good. It looks like everybody's ready, which I think is fitting because it's late now. We've been going for a long time. Thank you, everybody, for staying around for so long. And Noam is putting on the hat, so maybe I can put on the hat as well. I have actually a St. Patty's Day hat, which might be fitting, but it's green, so it doesn't work out well on the on the chroma green screen I have right now. But I suppose I can put on here to go along.
Patrick isn't here,
Noam.
so we have to do it.
Yes, we could do it in homage to Patrick, who I hope is enjoying his interview with Jesse and the bees now. And I see Douglas he's really scaling up. He's really bringing this to the next level now with not just a headband.
The headphones are a great hat,
right?
Rosemary.
Of course, it looks like Rosemary's in search of some sort of hat, and Douglas going again with the I don't know, I want to call it alien headphones. I feel like that's how an alien would wear headphones if they were to wear headphones. I imagine the physics of that is maybe, oh, there we go. So now you maybe can't hear us, but it looks cool. And it looks like maybe they can help you hover or levitate as well when you position them downward like that.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Joe always has his hat.
We got Joe, and we got real life Joe in the hat now as well, with a cool looking backwards cap. Joe's looking cool. Rosemary's got a hat that, okay, looks good. We all got some hats going on now. I don't know if Perry wants to join back with his not a bot hat. That was pretty funny. So we can tell that he's not a bot indeed. There we go. That's it. He's not a bot. Okay, cool. If Teresa or Victor, you want to join, then feel free. I would love to see it.
And Dan, you look nice, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Victor. Very kind of you. And so does everybody. All right. How should we wrap it up? Should we wrap it up with like a 1, 2, 3, go Eden, perhaps? Or does anybody have anything else in their mind? We could also say go Aquarius, go Eden, go Perry's got something in his mind.
Who's gonna do the Dr. Evil countdown?
Well, what do you mean Dr. Evil countdown? Because you go like that, that's Dr. Evil, but the countdown.
Patrick usually brings us 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5. Okay, I guess we can keep going with it because we're here, right? Right, might as well 4. Okay, we'll go maybe.
You know, that's why they have those countdowns.
Yes, that's what we do. Up, Perry's gone. He went with Dr. Evil and he's out. All right, I think it's time to wrap it up. We can go whatever you want. Go Eden, Pomelo,
Go
and,
Eden.
and Aquarius. Go Eden, sounds good.
If you want to throw out the Aquarius cannon sign,
and
you're
go
welcome.
Aquarius, and you can maybe make a shape for the Eden logo to the Pentagon, which might be difficult in addition to that. And Pomelo, you can put like a little thing. Yes, absolutely. Great to see all the hand shapes, fun times, and we got cool hand signs. Let's go 3, 2, 1, go Eden. Keep it simple. 3, 2, 1, go Eden. And also go Aquarius, if that's the right one, and go Pomelo, everybody. Thank you everybody for the great meeting. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
This is fun. Great to see you guys. Thanks for listening, and thank you for sharing all your grants as well.
Thanks, guys. Meet you next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victor. See you then. Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.